Chapter 1. The Beginning of the Legacy. Konoha, the village hidden in the leaves. Home of some of the strongest ninja to ever live. The home of the will of fire. A home meant to be about sacrifice, protecting others, and unity. That was all. Away, bullcrap. For right now, on the 9-year anniversary of the attack of the nine-tailed fox known as the QB, we find at least 20, if not more people chasing after a small boy. The people ranged from civilians to low-level ninja, and they were chasing an innocent 9-year-old child in order to end him. This child was one Naruto Uzumaki, and today was his birthday. He was a bit short and fairly skinny for his age, with a mop of sun-kissed blonde hair and bright blue eyes. On his cheeks were 6 marks, 3 on each cheek, that almost looked like whisker mark scars. He was wearing a pair of green goggles around his forehead and a Kill Me Now orange jumpsuit that had some blue accents and brown patches on his shoulders that had a spiral pattern on it. Or at least that was his normal appearance. Right now his goggles were hanging around his neck, the plastic thin and cracked, with one of the lenses smashed. His jumpsuit was covered in slash marks and tears, the left arm of his jumpsuit completely gone with similar damages all over the gaudy outfit. His blonde hair was shining with sweat, dulled from dirt, and almost orange from the blood. Yes, blood. His left eye was nearly sealed shut from the amount of blood that poured down his face, bleeding wounds all over his face and arms and chest. He looked like he had gone through a war. And these wounds? They were all caused by the people chasing after the child like he was the devil. He panted while trying to keep ahead of the crowd who were screaming at him. "Get back here, fox. Die for your crimes, demon. I'll make you pay for taking my family from me. Leave me alone. I didn't do anything," Naruto called, crying. The reason these monsters called people were chasing Naruto was because they saw the child as the QB reborn, when in reality, he was the container holding the beast back. And speaking of the beast, it was in a panic. Shit. Not again, growled a large reddish-orange fox locked in a cage which looked like it was in a sewer area. This was the QB, and this place was Naruto's seal. Those bastards are at it again. The QB, despite being a malevolent being, was not heartless. Once the child started using his power, started treating him like a slave, then QB would hate the child and make his life hell. But there was also the fact the seal that kept the QB trapped within Naruto linked their life forces. So Naruto dies, QB dies, and QB could not let that happen. There was a problem with this, however. That problem, while QB could heal Naruto with his chakra, Naruto was too young to handle too much of it, and Naruto was too injured. Without external help, Naruto, the QB, both of them would die. If that damn old man hurried up, then maybe he'll be fine. Aya! Naruto screamed as a kunai suddenly stabbed into his shoulder. Oh, for fuck's sake! QB screamed before he noticed something. He remembered this area. He knew this area. It's here, he thought before he closed his eyes and focused, basically screaming as loud as he could. That way, Naruto whispered, running away as he changed direction lightly as he ran deeper into the forests. "You can't hide from us, fox," laughed one of the people as they followed him in. "Now this is really a fox hunt." Naruto cried as he ran, moving as fast as he could, but as he lost his footing and tripped, he crashed against a tree. Quickly, in the tree, get the scroll, QB screamed as loudly as he could. Naruto groaned while holding the tree and heard the people before he reached up into the tree and grabbed something. What? He whispered, pulling his arm back and seeing a scroll in his hand. Why is there a scroll in a tree? Sign it. Use your blood and sign the contract, QB ordered. Naruto jumped at the sudden yell while rushing to unfurl it while he heard the people catch up to him. Quickly, QB screamed. Naruto shook a bit but nodded, using his bloody fingers to write his name on the scroll. He was then surrounded by smoke, disappearing as he lost consciousness. Unknown location. Naruto poofed back onto some ground with a thump and with some of his blood dripping onto it. He was inside a giant forest, the leaves a soft glowing blue with the trees nearly 20 to 25 feet tall. Several foxes of different colors with different numbers of tails began to emerge from the woods he had appeared in, sniffing him before they carefully dragged him away. They headed towards a large tree with a burrow right underneath it. Mother, one of the foxes, a white one with two tails, called into the burrow. What is it? Spoke a female voice that sounded deep and big. We found a boy who's injured. A boy? The voice repeated, now very curious. Hurry up, Kyubi yelled, taking a risk and forcing some more chakra through Naruto to hope to catch the voice's attention. Wait, I know that chakra, the voice said in shock, Kyubi's gambit having worked apparently, as loud stomping footsteps echoed from the burrow as a large creature emerged. It was a pure red fox with 8 tails that moved closer to the boy and narrowed her eyes before they widened. Kurama, the beast whispered, its voice showing it was female before turning to the others. This boy is Kurama's host. We must save him. Yes, mother. The foxes nodded, getting to work. They carried him over to another burrow with several other foxes running out as they set him down, and the other foxes taking his jumpsuit off to get a clear look at the wounds. Who did this to the little guy? An older-sounding fox said in shock. The fox is healing him. I'm not sure, but it was no accident. Spoke another sounding younger as their paws glowed with chakra. I mean, it was like several people were after him. The foxes all nodded, the wounds on Naruto slowly healing. Will he make it? Asked a smaller one that was a girl. With Kurama? Yes. We just need to help. The large fox nodded. Slowly the wounds closed up with the smaller foxes getting wet clothes to help clean the blood. You are. Naruto mumbled, awakening slowly while seeing fuzzy images over him. Oh no? Hello? The white fox from earlier smiled. He blinked and saw the foxes clear as day before going wide-eyed and tried sitting up, but winced and groaned. Oh, wow. He whimpered in pain. Where am I? Our realm. Spoke the older fox. You were found injured and bloody, and we did our best to patch you up. Gah! Naruto yelled as he saw the giant fox, jumping back. Easy there. She spoke while Naruto hissed in pain. Your body is still needing time to rest. Those were some nasty injuries. Who are you? What is this place? Naruto asked in fear. This is the realm of the fox summons. The fox explained this is Mujinamori Forest. And I am Kumsha, the mate of Kurama the nine-tailed fox. Naruto looked at her while confused. Mate? Kurama? Wait, the fox. His eyes then widened, recognizing half of what that meant. You mean you're with the fox that destroyed my home? Naruto yelled in fear. What do you mean? She asked confused. 9 years ago the Kyubi attacked Konoha and destroyed the place. Naruto, called the 4th Hokage, sacrificed himself to kill it. Her eyes widened along with the other foxes in disbelief. Kurama would do no such thing. She yelled in near outrage, and your 4th Hokage could not have killed my mate. In your human terms, you would call him my husband. The Kyubi is a construct of pure chakra. No mere mortal can kill him. He would just reform. But he did attack Konoha. There is a whole day to celebrate its defeat. Naruto argued. Yes, my mate held a grudge against your village because of an incident that went back to the times of Hashirama Senju and Madara Uchiha. But even then he was not pretty enough to take revenge, especially because of how long ago it has been. Kumsha explained with slight annoyance, but again, your 4th Hokage did not kill him. From what I have sensed, he has been sealed inside you. Naruto's eyes widened while looking down at his body and put a hand on it. Inside me? Yes. She nodded, lowering himself so she was laying on her stomach. She did this so she was as close to eye level as possible. I can smell him inside you. I know my mate is inside you. I have not seen him for a few hundred years. So they are right. Naruto whispered. I'm a demon. Who are right, kid? Kumsha frowned in worry. The villagers. They chased me. He looked down with sadness. They always call me a demon, a mistake, a bad omen ever since I was born. They were the ones who chased me, and they did this to you? A yellow-furred fox, the only one with a single tail, asked as she rubbed her head against his hand lightly. They hurt you? He nodded while noting how soft her fur felt and gave it a small rub. They are the monsters, Kit. Kumsha said gently. My mate is sealed inside you. You are its container, not my mate himself. To us, you're just a child hurt by fools, spoke one of the male foxes. Thank you, Naruto whispered, feeling welcomed. Kumsha was silent. before one of her tails moved and pressed it against Naruto's forehead. Naruto gasped, his eyes shrinking into nothing. When his eyes regained focus, he found himself in a sewer, the giant 8-tailed fox in the same position. "Kamsha, it's good to see you again," boomed a voice behind Naruto. Naruto's eyes widened and span around quickly. There he saw Kurama behind the cage and felt the air leave him. "Aya!" he screamed while trying to back up with Kurama not moving at all. "Kurama, I have missed you." The red-furred, 8-tailed fox smiled at the caged beast, unable to get too close. "What is going on?" Naruto yelled. "You two were brought into the seal that keeps me inside you." He replied, "This is your mind." My mind." Naruto blinked as he looked around, but why is it a sewer? "It's meant to represent your inner self. It's dark, bleak, and dreary because of the life you'd had to endure from those bastards." Kurama explained simply, a small hint of sadness in his voice. "But I don't want it to be dark," Naruto whispered. "Well, I can't change it since this cage is keeping me and my chakra restrained." "You, don't sound mean," Naruto said suddenly, looking up at the QB. "That's 'cause I'm not." He huffed while laying on his stomach. "I am a neutral creature. Yes, my chakra feels malicious, but I am neither good nor evil. If I feel like it, I will help someone. If I feel pissed, I might smash something." "Then, why did you attack Konoha?" Naruto asked curiously, getting closer to the cage. "Honestly, don't really remember." Kurama shrugged. "I was chained up in my seal when suddenly I was ripped out of your mother. I didn't even realize where I was since I was so disoriented, but I did see those eyes, and then everything went black. Next thing I know, I'm in here." "Those eyes. You are here taken control of by the Sharingan again?" Kamsha blinked in shock. He nodded while Naruto looked at him shocked at the part about his mom. "Why? You knew who my mom was?" Naruto whispered in hope. "She was my last jailer." Kurama nodded. "Her name was Kushina Uzumaki, and her husband was the man who put me in here." "Wait, what?" Naruto gasped. My father W was the 4th Hokage." "That's right. W. Why didn't anyone tell me?" Naruto whispered. "W. Why does everyone hate me?" "Ignorance. Those that people don't understand or choose not to end up fearing or hating it," spoke Kurama. "They hate you because of what I did. They don't see you as a child. They choose to blame you and pretend you're me just to feel justified in what they're doing. They are idiotic mortals who do not understand that a scroll that holds a sealed kunai is not the kunai." Kamsha explained before she looked at the 9 tails. "I missed you," she said suddenly. "I missed you too. I never thought I'd see you again after I got put in here. This is what you get for walking away from the den." She lightly chastised him before she looked at Naruto. "I guess he is fit to wield our contract then?" "I'd say he has the potential, but whether he does or not is up to him." Hey, don't talk about me like I'm not here," Naruto shouted angrily, making the 2 codes chuckle. "Well, Gaki, what's it gonna be? You put your blood on our scroll, but I urged you to do it so it would bring you here. Do you have what it takes to be a fox summoner?" asked Kurama. "What? I forgot how those stupid villagers stunted your growth." Kurama snarled. "Okay, I'm gonna explain what a summoner does, so listen closely." "Okay." Naruto nodded, looking excited about learning something cool. "If you smear your blood on a summoning scroll, that means you've made a contract with the summoning animal. Doing this means they'll help you in battle, but some of them tend to want something in return like meat, sacrifices, or even something minor like rice. It depends on which summoning breed you're trying to make a deal with." Kurama explained slowly and as simply as possible. "What do I have to do with the foxes?" Naruto asked. "For us, you don't need to do anything big." Kamsha shrugged. "You just need to take some of the younger foxes on pranking sprees once every 2 months. They are very mischievous by nature." "Did you say prank?" Naruto asked with a large grin. "Yes, learning the best ways to prank on regular humans is always something foxes need to do. It helps them with later lessons," spoke Kurama. "And with your history, it should be as easy as breathing for you." "Hell yeah, it will," Naruto called with a proud grin, making the 2 foxes grin. "You can stay in this forest with us, Kit. The mother of the foxes said we will train you and treat you like our own. We will help you be great." "You better." Kurama grumbled. "I will not have a weak container." "Really?" asked Naruto with hope and joy. I can stay. Didn't you hear her? She said yes. Kurama rolled his eyes, only for Kumsha to hit him over the head with one of her tails. OW. The hell, Vixen? Don't be so mean to him, my tot, she said with a frown. Yes, dear, Kuruma mumbled under his breath, making her smirk. Good. She nodded before looking down at Naruto. We will look after you, kid. The mother smiled, the one human big among a den of foxes. Thank you, thank you. He smiled while feeling some tears in his eyes. You two should go now, Kurama sighed. All right, come along, Naruto. Kumsha nodded, looking at her mates sadly, and like that the two faded from the sewer. Kurama sighed, laying down again and preparing to sleep, both happier than he had been for a while, but also the saddest he had been. Outside Naruto's body, Naruto blinked and looked around, seeing the foxes asleep. How long were we gone? Not long, Kumsha explained, but it is very late. The little ones needed sleep. Does that include me? Yes, Kit. She smiled lightly. Joy in her eyes, she laid down on the ground while using one tail to usher him closer to her side. You can rest beside me tonight. Thank you. Naruto smiled weakly, snuggling into her fur. Good night, Mom, he whispered as he fell asleep against her surprisingly soft fur. Her eyes widened before she smiled and gave a small rub to his head with her nose before curling her tails around like a blanket before closing her eyes. She fell asleep gently, smiling good night. Son, she thought as she drifted to sleep. Time so that, back at Konoha. Back in the village, we find ourselves with a pink-haired girl walking down the street. It had been a few weeks since Naruto left, or disappeared as everyone else thought. The kids in Naruto's class noticing, and, like any kids in this situation, were all scared the same thing would happen to them. This girl, Sakura Haruno, was the same age as Naruto without roughly the same height. She had a neon pink shade of hair that went to her shoulder blades. Her eyes were a bright, emerald green. She was dressed in a red sleeveless dress that went to her knees. And unlike the others, she was also a little curious on what happened. The adults seemed happy lately, and if it was something scary that took him, wouldn't they feel scared too? So for the past few days she had been looking into Naruto, asking people about him and trying to get some answers, but all they did was reassure her that everything was fine and that they could all relax for once. Like the truth didn't matter or they didn't want to say. It was making her mad. She sighed, entering her own home. Mom, I'm home, she called. Ah, good afternoon, Sakura. Her mother smiled. Are you okay? Sakura's mother asked as Sakura herself sat down at the table with a frown. No, no one's telling me anything about Naruto, she huffed. You shouldn't be talking about that demon brat, dear. Just be happy he is gone. Sakura's mother frowned. But why? I mean, sure, he can get annoying, but he didn't do anything that bad, so why'd he vanish? I'm sure he did something bad no one saw, smiled her mom. Besides, why worry about him when there's more important things? Like what? Well, you are in the same class as Sasuke Uchiha, aren't you? Wouldn't it be great to have him be your boyfriend? Her mother, Mabuki Haruno, smiled happily. Sakura sighed. Mom, I'm not into him. He just seems so moody all the time. Besides, when I was walking home I noticed something about the fourth Hokage's head. It looked just like Naruto if he was older. Do not insult the fourth like that. Mabuki snarled in anger while standing up in anger. But it's true, spoke Sakura, who was too caught up to stand down. If you think about it, why doesn't Naruto's parents ever show up? They can't be busy, cause wouldn't we have seen them? Sakura, stop right now. Her mother snapped. Stop, and I will tell you why the demon brat is hated. Sakura reeled back while her mom let out an aggravated sigh and sat back down. You remember how, 9 years ago, the Kyuubi attacked and nearly destroyed our village? Mabuki explained, and how it killed Daddy? Sakura whispered sadly. Yeah, everyone knows about that. The fourth Hokage, the hero he was, killed the demon at the cost of his own life. Mabuki continued, but the demon didn't give up. It brought itself back in the form of a child, preparing itself and biding its time to kill us all. The demon took the form of the child you call Naruto. He is the Kyuubi, reborn. Sakura was silent with wide eyes, looking down at her hands. Do you understand now, Sakura, dear? That doesn't make sense, Sakura said suddenly. Excuse me, the mother asked in disbelief. It doesn't make sense. She spoke up again. I mean, if that was true, and everyone knows that, Why would it stay and let everyone attack him? Why not just leave for some other village? Or, why change into a person at all if he lived? Couldn't he have just destroyed the rest of the village? Because the fourth weakened it. It couldn't go anywhere and was weak, which is why we have been trying to kill it before it regains its power. Mabuki snapped/argued back. Then why try to kill him? I mean, why make itself look like the fourth if it knew everyone would want revenge? Why make it walk around on its own to begin with if everyone wants it dead? Because it knew we would find it eventually, some way. It was mocking us. But it still doesn't make sense. What if it didn't happen that way? What if Naruto really is the fourth Hokage's son? Slap. Sakura reeled back and held her cheek while looking at her mom with shock, who glared at her. You go to your room, young lady. And don't let me hear you talk like that again. Mabuki frowned. But Mom. I said go. But Mom. If Naruto is the son of the fourth, wouldn't he be a better boyfriend than Sasuke? Sakura asked as she cried, trying to understand and reason with her mother while taking a step back and looking away. Suddenly the room went cold and Sakura shivered, feeling like she should not have said that. Sakura, saying that filth is the son of the fourth or that the monster is better than Sasuke, is where I draw the line. And you have done both. Mom? Sakura blinked in shock, taking a step back only for her back to the hit wall as her mother looked at her in rage. I'm going to make sure you never have thoughts like that again, Mabuki said darkly. Sakura's screams of pain soon filled the house. Elsewhere, we move away from the house and go to the top of the village, into the office of the third Hokage. He was an elderly man with a white robe on and a red hat on his head with the kanji for leaf, and he was in the middle of doing paperwork. But his mind was not on his paperwork right now, but on his surrogate grandson, Naruto. He had been missing for nearly 2 weeks, and the old man was worried about the blonde. He was his family. He sent Umbu out to try and find him, but they found jack squat. It made him fear for the child's life and was praying he was alive and safe somewhere. Naruto, please be safe. Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage of Konoha and the man dubbed as the Professor, whispered in hope and worry. As he resumed writing, a sudden cloud of smoke poofed in front of his desk. In the blink of an eye, several Umbu, the Hokage's personal guards, emerged from their hiding places with swords drawn and jutsu ready to be performed. After a few seconds, the smoke vanished to reveal a blue-furred, three-tailed fox. Greetings. I have come here to deliver a message to the third Hokage. Are you he? It asked in a female voice. Yes. Hiruzen blinked, but quickly gathered himself, his guards still ready to strike, especially as the creature was a fox, which brought up memories of the Kyuubi's attack. I am sorry, but who are you? I am Sapphire, a three-tailed kitsune of the fox summons. The fox bowed as best as a four-legged creature could, the fox having a feminine voice and about the size of a large dog. I bring a message from our summoner and youngest brother, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Sarutobi and the others all widened their eyes in disbelief, the Umbu not being seen behind their masks, before he stood up. What did you say? Little brother Naruto says he is not angry with you keeping his parents' secret or about being unable to stop those monsters you call citizens of your village. He will be staying with the fox his summons, to train and grow stronger. He promises to be back for the Chunin exam on the day and to make you proud. Sapphire explained, almost as if ignoring his question. I say keep the demon, muttered one of the Umbu, which the fox picked up on. She snarled and slashed her tails. Chains of a glowing purple energy appeared around the Umbu and began to crush him. Do not insult our leader or little brother Naruto, or I will crush you and your inner organs, human. I say crush him. The Umbu with long silver hair and a dog-like mask. And no, wheezed the Umbu, restrained in fear while feeling the binds get tighter. Enough, spoke Sarutobi. Let me handle him. I'd rather your kind not have to deal with more problems, and killing one of my shinobi would just make the villagers more scared. Trust me, I'll make sure he gets what's coming to him. Sapphire just scoffed and made the chains vanish before turning to the dog-masked man. Little brother likes you. Says you are one of the ones who helps him when they can. Thank you. She bowed lightly with genuine respect and thanks. The Umbu bowed back while touched to hear that before Sapphire turned to Sarutobi. I will be honest, Lord Hokage, myself, and a good third of the older fox summons wish to punish this village for their cruelness it showed a child. It does not matter that the child was welcomed into the skulk. But Naruto asked us not to. Sapphire explained, but we shall protect Naruto. We shall help him grow strong and happy. The fox summons swear this. And to us kitsunes, our word is something we do not break. He wanted to ask more, but nodded. I thank you for doing this. I might not know your clan very well, but I have a feeling you might be able to help him more than Konoha can at this time. Do any of you wish to relay a message to Naruto? For, unless some dire situation emerges, you shall not see him or any fox summon until his return. Sapphire asked, this is your one chance to contact him. All of them were silent before the silver-haired one raised his hand. I have something to say. Sapphire nodded. Turning to him, what do you want to tell him? She asked. Tell him. I'm sorry I couldn't do more for him. Okay. Sapphire smiled sadly and nodded before turning to the Hokage. Anything you wish to tell Naruto, Lord Hokage, or should I leave now? Yes, I want you to tell him the same. I apologize for failing as his friend. I'm sorry I couldn't do more for him. And let him know I'm going to make sure that when he takes the exams that no one will hinder him or try anything. Sapphire nodded with a wide smile. You are a kind and great man. She praised before disappearing in a plume of smoke. Hokage-sama, are you sure we can trust that fox? Asked one Umbu. She gave us no reason why we shouldn't. He said, but let me make this clear. No one, and no one is to mention what was said here. Anyone who does will suffer a great punishment. The Umbu all froze in fear and respect towards the professor. This is an SS class secret. Understood? Yes, Lord Hokage. They all called as one. Besides dog, you are all dismissed. Hiruzen nodded, all other Umbu vanishing into the darkness. Yes, Lord Hokage, spoke the Umbu. Take a seat, Kakashi. The old Hokage asked, using the man's real name. He nodded and sat down in the chair, while Sarutobi sat back down behind the desk. He also took off his mask, revealing his face, which had a second mask covering the lower half of his face. Even now, I don't know why he has that, thought Sarutobi before he got to work. Kakashi, I wish to ask you a favor for when Naruto comes back. The third Hokage side, I ask you, if he passes the Chunin exam, to be the Jonin sensei of his team. Me? You want me to take on a team? He needs your guidance. The lessons his father passed down to you. And he needs kindness to help shape him into his own man. Kakashi, you saw Minato as a second father. You should be there to help his son make Minato proud. Hiruzen said passionately. Plus, there is no guarantee that his Jonin sensei will see him as Naruto, but as the fox, and therefore hinder his progress. Kakashi let that sink in and nodded. I agree. They might even attempt something and make it look like an accident just to try and get rid of him on a mission. I do not ask for you to retire from the Umbu now, but I ask that you be his team sensei when he returns. Hiruzen smiled sadly, and be the big brother figure I stopped you from being. Kakashi looked at the Hokage with his lone eye widened before bowing his head. I will, Lord Hokage. Thank you. Hiruzen nodded. Please be okay, Naruto, he thought carefully. With the fox summons. With the foxes, it was daytime and Naruto had woken up with the others. Thank you for telling me the messages, Sapphire. Naruto smiled, crying lightly. Over his few weeks' stay with the foxes so far, he had spent the time doing some basic chakra exercises and learning the summoning jutsu, in order to send Sapphire to the Hokage, as no member of the Fox clan had been there before. It was no problem, little brother. Sapphire smiled. Hey, mother. Naruto called up at Kumsha. Yes, Kit. The mother of the summoned smiled. What is with you all having different amounts of tails? He asked, making the large fox chuckle. It is rather simple. The amount of tails a fox has reflects its age and power. It goes from 1 to 7. She explained. But you have 8 tails. Naruto pointed out the obvious. Because of Kurama. She explained. He trained me himself. And when we first mated, he passed some of his chakra to me. It gave me my 8th tail. When I am ready to pass on, which I am a long time from, might I add, I will pass my power on to my successor, giving them their 8th tail. But I still have a long time left inside me. So what would say I am? 1 tail. Kumsha said, the foxes snickering lightly. Damn, Naruto mumbled. But don't worry, by the time you return to Konoha, you will be at least a 3 tail. The Fox Summons boss smiled, meaning we should start now. Awesome. Naruto cheered what first. Kumsha smiled, her tails wagging gently. Time skip years later, Konoha. As the years passed, so did a horrible life for Sakura. Sakura and her mother's arguments had continued and grown, her mother's treatment of her daughter getting worse as a result. Beatings and such having become a common occurrence for the Pinkette. Mabuki had focused on her back and places where most people wouldn't see, focused on purifying her daughter of the demon's spell so she would be perfect for the last loyal Uchiha. Unfortunately, this had the opposite effect. Sakura had looked more into Naruto, and she was confident Naruto was the son of the fourth Hokage, and she knew she could get him to be her boyfriend, as his crush on her had more or less been public knowledge. Because of this, she had become obsessed with Naruto in order to suffer though her mother's torture, seeing the eventual ends being worth this pain. She also grew to hate Sasuke Uchiha, the one her mother wanted her to get with. This was because she blamed him for what she had gone through, which had gotten worse from a simple choice she made. She trained. Squire was smart, and because of that she knew that being with Naruto would be dangerous. So she trained. This, however, gave her mother the opportunity to up her daughter's purification, cutting her arms and legs, using hot metal and pushing it against her skin. To put it simply, she hurt her daughter more with wounds that could be excused from her training. This leading to the girl wanting nothing more than to make her mother and Sasuke pay dearly and suffer more than she had. Sakura was currently hiding it well, but she was one wrong moment from mentally snapping. But that did not mean that she was ignorant to getting the attention of boys. Her mother did give her money to get good-looking cloths and makeup as well as books about picking up guys. Now she had pink hair that reached her chin. Her fringe was curved and went down in several rolls, looking like a few curved spikes going down her forehead. She wore a black top that reached an inch past her hips. The shirt looked to be silk, but was actually a high-class, free-breathing ninja material as to not weigh a ninja down, but also keep them well cooled. The shirt had an almost kimono-esque style to it with red accents around the neck and the hem in the style of sakura petals. The red also went down the shirt, connecting the neck and the hem of the shirt. Over the chest of her shirt was a small diamond-shaped hole which lightly showed off her cup cleavage, the red accents around the diamond. She was also wearing matching tight red shorts that hugged her waist and butt, hugging her curves while allowing free movement. She was wearing black, fingerless gloves with her fingernails painted red. She had a weapons pouch tied around her right upper thigh, full over kunai and shuriken. She was confident. Today was the Chunin graduation exam. Today she would be on her way to being a full-fledged shinobi, meaning she could start missions, meaning she could prove herself for Naruto. A near-insane grin spread across her face as she picked up the pace. Maybe I can even find him and bring him back. Elsewhere, we go back to the Hokage's office, where Hiruzen was hard at work against his mortal enemy once again. Whoever invented paperwork is probably having a field day. The great shinobi thought in irritation, finishing signing another form when a blast of smoke filled the room. He looked up and was greeted by Sapphire. Sapphire had grown in size, now about the size of a normal dining table with four tails flowing behind her. And speaking of behind her, a figure stood there. The figure was a teenager with blonde hair that was not very long, but not super short either, and bright blue eyes. He wore a black fishnet shirt with an open black jacket on top, the jacket having orange accents down the arm and a large orange spiral on the back. The teen was also wearing black shinobi pants and a weapons holder on either thigh. Hey, old man. The older Naruto greeted her with a cheeky, "Get familiar, smile, miss me?" Naruto. Hiruzen smiled as he sat back. "It is good to see you again. Sorry it took a while. I had to make sure my new look was all together. That and Sapphire here wanted to grab some lunch." "Please, you wanted to be dramatic." She rolled his eyes. "Says the one who said an entrance helps make an impression on people." Sapphire smacked him over the back of the head lightly. He stuck his tongue at her before turning to Sarutobi. "So am I late?" "No, classes have yet to start," he assured. "Sweet. Then if you need me, I'll be getting my new headband." Naruto smiled, waving, before he seemingly disappeared. That Naruto was an illusion clone, which is similar to your shadow clones. He summoned himself near the academy. Sapphire explained. "I'm impressed. I didn't expect that at all. Hiruzen commented. My little brother has grown. Sapphire said proudly. I can see. Want some tea? Hiruzen asked with a smile as Sapphire jumped onto the chair opposite him. I very much would, thank you. Sapphire nodded as Hiruzen poured 2 cups of tea. At the academy, the class were all sat down ready for the class, scattered around at their own desks. Sakura herself felt more excited and scanned around the others before spotting the last Uchiha and had to keep herself from scowling. He was sat near the window at the back, looking out the window with a moody scowl showing how he thought everyone else didn't matter. Sakura forced herself to ignore him and looked around the class, looking at her other classmates. There was Kiba Inuzuka, a boy with a gray jacket with black fur lining around the hood and sleeves with a small white dog on his head. Then there was Shino Aburang. Shino had black hair and wore sunglasses, wearing a massive white coat that covered half of his face. Next was Hinata Hyuga. She had blue hair with bangs going past her face with pupilless eyes and large overcoat. Sakura had to admit she was a bit jealous of Hinata, knowing she had large breasts for their age. She glanced down at her chest for a second while looking at the others. Sitting near Sasuke were a bunch of random civilian fangirls that just disgusted Sakura. But among them was a girl that was once Sakura's friend, Ino Yamanaka. A blonde whose hair is in a ponytail, but she wears a lot of purple clothing. Sakura used to really like Ino, the 2 great friends, but when Ino started fangirling over Sasuke, Sakura began to hate her. If she wants to throw herself at that bastard, she can have him, she thought in annoyance. Another person in the class was Shikamaru Nara, a very lazy guy with a pineapple-style hairstyle. Besides him was a slightly portly boy with brown hair and eating chips, his best friend Choji Akimichi. Sakura sighed, looking back to the front of the class. That's when she saw their teacher enter. He was a slightly scared Chunin called Irika Yumino. Irika dressed in the classic/generic Chunin attire. All right, class. Today is a big day for you all. The day you graduate as Genin. Sakura actually sighed at that. Less than a quarter of the class took the idea of being a ninja seriously, that being her, Sasuke, Shino, she thinks, and Hinata. The rest seem to act like they think being a ninja will be all fun and games or super easy. Add to that the fact Hinata is a very shy and gentle girl, not suited for the shinobi life, and Sasuke is a brooding emo with an obsession with power and killing his brother, making him untrustworthy as a ninja. This was made worse by the fact that the notable ninja in her class were clan heirs, and they thought being a ninja was a walk in the park. No wonder this village is full of dumbass who tortured poor little Naruto, she thought bitterly. Now I would like to introduce a new student to the class. Irika began, which threw the class into disbelief and yelling. That's not fair. We had to go through years of your boring lectures. Why does this newbie get to skip it all? Sasuke should have been able to skip if this loser has been. Quiet. Irika yelled with his famous jutsu, the big head jutsu. It did as it described, make it look like his head was nearly 10 times its size, and amplifies his voice 3-fold, making all of them immediately shut up. Suddenly smoke began to fill the classroom from several small smoke bombs. Everyone was confused while Irika looked ready for a fight. Then the smoke disappeared. They saw Naruto standing atop Irika's desk with a lot of foxes around him. Posing lightly, Naruto Uzumaki has arrived. Naruto called proudly, small colorful puffs of smoke going off around him and the foxes. The class was shocked into silence, staring at Naruto and the foxes in shock and amazement, with the girls staring for an extra reason. Sakura herself felt her body get rigid at the name and how much he had changed since she last saw him. He's perfect, Sakura thought, almost drooling as she looked at him. So hot, so sexy. There is no argument. He is the 4th's son. That's Naruto, Hinata thought as she looked at him, remembering Naruto saving her from bullies when they were 7. He looks so handsome, she thought, a small nosebleed forming. That's Naruto, thought Ino in shock. He looks so sexy. So where do I sit? Naruto asked with a cheeky smirk as he jumped off the desk, the foxes going onto his shoulders. Well, the youngest went and sat on his head and took a nap. Right there, spoke Irika with a sweat drop at the entrance, but surprise and joy at seeing Naruto after so many years. Thanks. Naruto waved before he ran up the steps in excitement. sitting next to Hinata. He's sitting right beside me, Hinata thought, blushing as she pushed her fingers against each other. Here are the tests, Irika informed, putting written tests in front of the class. Keep your eyes on them and don't even try to cheat. I see anyone do that, and I'll fail them on the spot. Why? Naruto suddenly asked. Because it's part of the standard test, and if you all want to be Chunin, then you're going to have to stick to the basics until after you graduate. But we are ninja, Naruto pointed out. If we cheat and you don't know until later, we should be praised. Agreed, spoke one of the foxes on his shoulders. Naruto, Irika sighed. Look, these are the rules set by the council. They need to know you have the base knowledge down to a reasonable level. You won't have the answers with you all the time. There are tests based on information gathering later in your shinobi career. But for now, you need to do this with your own knowledge. So, I should give this back then, Naruto said, holding up a sheet of paper. It was the answer sheet. What the how'd you get that? He asked in shock, with the others looking at Naruto with surprise, except for Sasuke. When we were on the desk, Naruto shrugged. Why did you think we appeared on it when in front of it would have worked just as well? You were all focused on me and my upper body while these little guys at my feet grabbed it. We're that good, snickered the fox on his other shoulder. Yeah, you are. Naruto smiled, scratching them behind the ears. So what do you say, sensei? Irika sighed and took the answers off Naruto. Walking back to the front, you were getting a few points extra credit, Naruto. He grumbled. Thank you, sensei. What's with the foxes, loser? Kiba scoffed, trying to copy me and my clan? Don't insult big brother. A two-tailed, orange fox snapped. We're better than any mangy mutt. He means you, smirked the fox on Naruto's other shoulder. Why, you little? Kiba snarled, standing up. Kiba, sit down. Irika snapped. Are those foxes talking? Ino blinked. No, we're using telepathy. What do you think? Spoke the other fox on his shoulder. This fox had black fur and just one tail. Now, Onyx, I don't think most of these guys have seen a summon before. Naruto chuckled. Summon? Spoke Choji in confusion. We can deal with this another time. Irika interrupted. We are late with starting the test anyway. Naruto, can you send your summons away now so we can start the test? Yes, sensei. Naruto nodded. Sorry guys, I'll see you later. Remember your promise, big bro. One of the foxes giggled. Will do. Foxes always keep their word. Naruto smiled. Bye. The foxes called, disappearing with small puffs of smoke. Well, you have an hour to finish your tests. Irika ordered his class as they took a few seconds to calm down. This'll be a sync, Naruto thought, spinning his pencil. Time ticked away, pencil scrapping paper being the only sound that filled the room, besides a few mumbles, frowns and mutters under people's breath. Sakura herself tried to focus on the paper, but she kept glancing up near where Naruto sat. He's here. He is finally here. She thought, my future husband is finally back, and once I pass we might be on the same team. She was so excited she almost snapped her pencil. Naruto himself smiled and filled in each question with ease. He soon put his pencil down and flipped his paper over, sitting back in relaxation. Being bored, he looked around the class to think of what he thought of everyone. All right, one rude boy with a dog, a silent one who I swear has some buzzing going on around him, a dude who looks ready to pass out, another one who looks hungry, some emo who looks like he has better things to do, and a girl who is glancing at me. Naruto thought before he blinked. Wait, a girl glancing at me? Is that Sakura? He looked at me. Sakura thought, holding back a squeal joy. Wow, she really looks different. Naruto thought before he looked at the purple-haired girl next to him. She quickly looked away, and he had to smile a little at the shy and cute nature. She's kind of cute. What's her name again? Naruto thought. Wait, why is he looking and smiling at Hinata? Sakura thought in shock and anger. She gripped her pencil and gritted her teeth. All right, class, test's done. Irika called with a clap of his hands. You all have outside and relax, chat, and wait for the next exam. Mizuki already has it all set. I will gather all your papers and grade them. We will start when I join you outside. All of them stood up and started making their way out. This is my chance, Sakura thought as the class stood outside in the afternoon sun. I can show Naruto how much of a real kunoichi I've become. She took a few breaths and coughed, walking towards Naruto with a smile. Hi there, Naruto. she greeted with a smile. Huh. Oh, hi Sakura. He greeted with a small wave. How are you? Good. She smiled. I've been defending you since you left. Defending me? Naruto blinked. Yeah, from all the people who spoke bad about you. Sakura grinned, expecting him to start thanking her, and maybe even give me a kiss. Huh, thanks Sakura. You're a great friend. Naruto smiled before he walked off to talk to Hinata. Friend? She blinked, feeling the world around her starting to break. Friend, as in, not girlfriend? She began to hyperventilate, feeling like the ground was falling out from under her. No, anything but that. She closed her eyes and shook her head, calming herself down. She just had to prove herself to Naruto. She had to show him she returned his feels, and she was worthy of standing as his lover. She had to show her skills, her power, and her womanly charms. Slowly the Chunin stopped near a large space with a silver-haired man in the Chunin attire walked out. Mizuki was one of the 2 Chunin instructors of the academy. He had white shoulder-length hair with a slight hint of blue to it and green eyes. He wore the standard attire of the Konohanin before his defection, which included flak jacket and forehead protector that he wore like a bandana. Hello everyone. He greeted. Right now we're going to do a taijutsu test to see if you can handle yourselves physically. Mizuki explained. You will be facing me one-on-one in taijutsu. You must last for 5 minutes without me throwing you out of the ring. You get bonus points if you knock me out of the ring. First up is Sasuke Uchiha. The emo walked up with the civilian fangirls already cheering for him as he stood in the ring. Mizuki is going to throw the match. Sakura grumbled as she sat next to Naruto and Hinata. Huh. Naruto blinked. He always shows favoritism to that bastard. Sakura explained simply. He sounds like a great guy. Naruto rolled his eyes. All right, begin. Mizuki called. Everyone watched as Sasuke attacked. The silver-haired Chunin putting up a sloppy defense before he was knocked out of the ring at the 2-minute mark. Nicely done, Sasuke. Mizuki praised. Sasuke scoffed and walking away with an arrogant smirk. All right. Next up is Sakura Haruno. All right. Sakura cheered as she ran into the arena. Watch me, Naruto. Watch what I have become for you. Mizuki stood up while Sakura got into a ready stance. All right, begin. Sakura roared as she charged and began to rapidly punch and kick at Mizuki, her strikes having tremendous power and speed behind them. Mizuki was surprised and tried to dodge her due to the size difference. Sakura gave a power punch which hit Mizuki in the gut, knocking the wind out of him and knocking him out of the area at the 3 minutes mark. I win. Yes, you did. He flinched. How can a civilian girl punch that hard? Mizuki thought in slight anger. Did Naruto see that? Sakura thought, looking behind her to see Naruto chatting with Hinata. She gritted her teeth while glaring daggers at the girl. That slut. So, Hinata, what are you into? Naruto asked her, the girl seeming nice. What do you mean? She asked with a blush and slight stutter. Hobbies and such. He shrugged, sitting back in relaxation. Personally, I love relaxing. And pranking. Oh, well, I do like walks. Hinata said shyly. And flower pressing. Flower pressing? Sounds nice. He nodded. While he talked with her, Sakura glared while Mizuki went on to test the rest of the class till it was his turn. Hinata Hyuga. Mizuki called. Sounds like you're up. Good luck. Naruto smiled. Hinata nodded, walking to the small ring. Naruto took the time to look around for someone else to talk to while watching Hinata lightly. He spotted Shikamaru sitting on the ground while Choji sat next to him while eating from a bag of chips. Hey, Naruto greeted her as he sat down next to them. Yo, greeted Shikamaru in a bored tone. Naruto Uzumaki, future sage of the Fox Summons and future Hokage. Nice to meet you. Naruto greeted, holding out a hand. Shikamaru looked at him before shaking his hand. Shikamaru. You don't talk much, do ya? Naruto chuckled. It's too much of a drag for me. Naruto shrugged, turning to the slightly chubby classmate. Got any extra? Nope, already ate it. Damn, feel like going for ramen after the tests? Naruto offered. Sounds good to me. The two shared a smile, turning their sights to the ring and Hinata's fight. She was having trouble hitting Mizuki, who kept dodging her open palm strikes. Her movements were a bit strict and blocky, unsuited for her frame. And while she wasn't doing much damage to Mizuki, he was too focused on defense to counter her. But then he saw an opening and tripped her off her feet. In time, Mizuki said, Hinata pulling herself up slowly. You lasted 5 minutes. Very good. Thank you, sensei. She quickly got up and hurried off to Naruto, Mizuki glaring at Naruto. Your turn, the Chunin said bitterly. Me? Naruto asked, pointing at himself. Yes, you. Who else would I be talking to? He frowned. Okay, if you want. Naruto shrugged. You just didn't call my name, which you did with everyone else. He walked into the ring, relaxed. That's because not everyone you face in life will bother to know your name. Do you think an enemy Nin is going to want to know you before slitting your throat? This is a test, and you called everyone else's names. Naruto scoffed. Well, let's do this. Damn demon bastard, Mizuki thought, trying to stay calm. Begin. Naruto smirked, and, unlike what everyone expected, Naruto didn't take a fighting stance. He instead had his hand in his pocket, relaxed, and began casually walk towards Mizuki. What's the idiot doing? Thought Kiba. What are you doing? Mizuki blinked, shaking a bit in confusion and nerves as Naruto got closer. He was feeling creeped out from how casual he was acting. Naruto smirked, almost chest to chest, when Naruto suddenly moved, thrusting a palm out. Mizuki's eyes widened and dodged as best as he could by leaning back, which allowed Naruto to kick Mizuki's leg out from under him. The Chunin twisted, trying to readjust himself when Naruto's foot slammed into Mizuki's gut, sending the silver-haired men out of the ring, and out you go. Everyone was silent, staring in shock. Not even 30 seconds. And he did it so relaxed, so casually, and so strangely. Mizuki was stunned and pushed himself up to see Naruto walking away and gritted his teeth in anger. That demon brat, he roared mentally. The fox summons fighting style. Naruto smiled, not saying anything, manipulating your opponent and tricking them, using their confusion and instincts against them. So cool, Sakura thought, wide-eyed with sparkles around her. She looked just like a fangirl, but SBE did her best to control herself. That was amazing, Anne. Naruto, Hinata whispered. Thanks, Hinata. You are going to be very troublesome, Shikamaru commented. That was pretty cool. How'd you do that? Asked Choji. He expected me to charge, to kick ass. I did the opposite. Caught him off balance. And with that opening, he went flying. Naruto explained simply anyone could do it. That is so creative, Hinata gasped. Why thank you. He grinned while doing a mock bow. Sasuke was snarling, glaring at the one who overshadowed him. How did he manage to do that? Sasuke thought in anger, that power should be mine. He doesn't need it. I need to kill Itachi. That power should be mine. Naruto felt like someone was glaring and spotted Sasuke. What's with him? A few minutes later and the entire class was finished, everyone walking back inside the classroom. All right, class, you finished the written part, the taijutsu part. Now there's one last part before you can be considered Genin. Spoke Irika. Irika and I will call you into the back room one at a time, and you will be asked to do the 3 academy jutsu. Mizuki nodded. Do all of them, and you'll have passed. Naruto sat back and relaxed in his seat, noticing how Sakura would occasionally look at him. He had to admit, it was starting to get creepy. But add to that she also glared at Hinata every now and again. To what is with her? He thought before shrugging. So, Hinata, want to hang out sometime? He asked the shy girl. He's asking me on a date. Hinata thought in shock with a blush. That slut, Sakura mentally screamed. As if a girl would want to go out with you, loser. Kiba laughed, but also growling as he saw himself as an alpha and he wanted Hinata as his. Sit boy, the grown-ups are talking, spoke Naruto, waving him off. Why you? Kiba snarled, stashing up ready to attack Naruto. Kiba, knock it off, frowned Irika. Since you seem riled up, you can go first. Kira snorted and went into the back room with the 2 teachers, leaving the class alone. Has he had his shots? Smirked Naruto, which got some of the others to snicker. One by one students went into the room, some coming out with headbands and most without, most of which were mainly civilians. Naruto shrugged and briefly considered a nap, but as he was about to lay his head down on the desk to sleep, a certain emo was standing in front of him. You. Tell me, he ordered. Tell you what? Naruto asked, blinked. Where did you learn that fighting style? Who taught you? The foxes I arrived with? Naruto deadpanned, it's not overly complicated. Just hard to control your fighting instincts. Teach me how to do that, and explain how you got them as your summons. No, Naruto said simply, shocking everyone. I had to learn how to use it. They picked me as their summoner, and everything they else taught me I had to work for. So if you were thinking of me to just give them to you without hesitation, then your fangirls look like they have more brains than you. Do you know who I am? Sasuke snapped in anger at being denied what he wanted. A spoilt child? Naruto said, bored. No, I am Sasuke Uchiha. What's the difference? He smirked while looking close to taking a nap. Sasuke growled, ready to attack Naruto. Sasuke Uchiha. Irika called for the next contestant. The Avenger sent the blonde one more glare before heading to the room. What a brat, Naruto said without hesitation, the class still staring at him in shock. What? It's true. That was cool, Ino mumbled, voicing the thoughts of the entire class. But it was also the wrong thing to say, gaining the glare of a certain pink-haired teen. Quit staring at my Naruto hussy. Sakura thought, but she said, overly sweetly, what do you mean, Ino? Don't you spend all day sucking Sasuke's 2-incher? Well, no, I don't. She cried out with a blush and indignation. Well, considering you are normally a useless, gaga fangirl with the bastard, you can excuse my confusion. Sakura said in a sarcastic apology, but now that Naruto is here, you've jumped ship to a new piece of eye candy. Well, you can see why I thought that. She ended that with a near-evil smirk, Ino staring in wide-eyed smirk at Sakura's very indirect way of calling Ino a slut. Sakura, that's not nice. Naruto frowned in Ino's defense, shocking the two girls. She was just saying it was cool, that's it. Sakura's eyes widened at that. Angry Naruto was taking Ino's side, while Ino was staring at Naruto happily and thankful. What? She thought. Can you apologize to her, please? Naruto asked gently. Why isn't Naruto on my side? Sakura threw. Sakura Haruno. Irika called, interrupting the scene. Why is he that slut's side? Sakura thought, getting up and walking sadly into the testing room. Ino was silent as she got up and walked towards Naruto, the class silent as they paid attention to this. Ino came to a stop, silent, and then bowed. Thank you for that, Naruto Uzumaki. You had no need to defend me like that, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for defending my honor. You're welcome. Naruto chuckled and shrugged. It was no big deal. I would not be near that looser, Ino. It might jinx your test, Sasuke said, almost threateningly, with a Konoha headband around his head before he left. Wow, they actually gave you one, smirked Naruto. If that's the case, I'll pass it with my eyes closed. Ino was silent, looking away from everyone. Before she sighed, I choose who I am. She whispered before she kissed Naruto's cheek. Thank you again, Naruto. She smiled, walking back to her seat. No problem, he replied with surprise. Sakura emerged from the test room, headband around her head. Naruto, I passed. She called with a smile, showing off her headband. Cool. Naruto nodded. He said I am cool. Sakura mentally squealed, leaving the class. Yes. Ino Yamanaka. Mizuki called. Wish me luck. Ino smiled before she ran into the room. I think she'll pass. Naruto smiled. I think she likes you, N. Naruto. Hinata stuttered while feeling dread just thinking that. You think? Naruto chuckled nervously with a blush. Wow, I didn't expect that. Ino soon came out and cheered, holding her headband in her hand and holding it high before she ran out of the class with a wave. Time passed, more students going in and out. Soon all that was left was Naruto and a few random civilians, leaving Naruto with his thoughts mostly. So far everything's been fine. Minus the emo, the civilians who look like they're ready to just give up. There's some pretty interesting kids here, he thought. Naruto. Irika smiled. Your turn. Sweet. He stood up and made his way down. He saw Irika and Mizuki behind a table, each holding a clipboard, with the table covered in nearly folder Konoha-plated headbands. Now you have very good scores with the rest of your exams, Naruto. Irika smiled. All you have to do is perform the 3 jutsu, and you pass. Question. Am I allowed to do variations of the techniques? Naruto asked. It isn't common, but it is allowed. Irika nodded after a second, And if you somehow know advanced forms of the techniques, then you get extra credit. Sweet. Naruto smiled. Which first? First up is the substitution jutsu, Mizuki said with a slight sneer. Understood. Naruto nodded, and in a puff of smoke, he had swapped places with Irika. All right, very good. Irika praised, writing the results down. Next is the Heineage, Mizuki said, trying to hide his hate as Naruto walked back around the table and Irika took his seer again. Easy. Naruto nodded. His body looked distorted for a second, like you were looking at him from the other side of the waterfall. In less than a second, a woman with long red hair and blue eyes wearing a green dress, white shirt under the dress, and an apron atop the dress took Naruto's place. Very good, Naruto. Irika stuttered as he looked at Naruto. K. Kushina. H. How? So what's next? Naruto asked as he ended the transformation. The clone jutsu, Irika explained. Naruto just gained a mad grin and brought his hands together in a simple hand seal fox style, illusion clone jutsu, as he said that the air around him distorted like he was surrounded by steam and superheated air. In less than a second, the air returned to normal, revealing 10 Narutos surrounding the original. Irika and Mizuki's eyes widened in shock at the different variant of the jutsu, while each of the Narutos gave fox-like grins. Hi, Irika-sensei. A clone smiled, poking Irika's cheek, showing it was solid. Will this work? Asked another, leaning on another's shoulder. Mizuki was silent, dropping his pen. Irika chuckled, smiling and shaking his head. You never cease to amaze, Naruto. He commented. It's why I'm awesome. He shrugged. Congratulations, Naruto. Irika nodded, a proud smile before he started listing off his scores. You scored 60% on your written test. Your taijutsu was beyond top marks. You got bonus points with swiping the test answers. You preformed the 3 Academy jutsu, and your variation of the clone jutsu scored you even more points. So, Naruto asked, his clones vanishing in poofs of smoke. You pass. Irika smiled, holding out a Konoha headband. Yes. He grinned, taking it and tying it around his forehead. Thanks, Iruka-sensei. He grinned, giving a thumbs up before he ran out of the room. Look out, world. Here comes Naruto Uzumaki, he thought with determination. Naruto leaned against a tree while lightly touching his headband. He smiled proudly. He had done it. After years of training with his new family, it was all worth it. He was a ninja. He passed. I'm awesome. He joked while the foxes on his shoulders slowly opened their eyes. Big brother Naruto, you're so loud. The fox yawned. Sorry guys, but take a look at my forehead. Naruto explained with a smile. The foxes gasped and smiled at the headband, cheering. Woohoo! Way to go, bro. We knew you could do it. Mother will be so proud when we tell her. I want a deer. You ate what? Made a bet about if you'd choke or not. I won, so I get a freshly hunted deer. The fox grinned. Figures you guys would make a bet. Naruto chuckled, rolling his eyes as he looked around the small area in front of the academy. Those who passed were being congratulated by their family, smiling and chatting away. I wonder if I should see if any of them still see me as a demon, he thought, noticing how the families all looked at him at least once. Either because of the foxes with him, which Konoha has hated since the Kyuubi's attack, or because their children were telling them about their new classmate. You sure that's a good idea, Kit? A familiar, dark, grumpy voice echoed inside Naruto's head. Oh, calm down, you fluffball. Naruto smiled. It's fine, so calm down. Okay, Dad. Whatever, brat. I better not need to heal you until your first mission. Kuruma grumbled from within his seal as he went back to sleep. Someone's getting soft. Last time you said third, he snickered. And my mate would kill me if I tried that. Kurama deadpanned. Now let me sleep while you bug those families. Sure, Pops. He started walking over while noticing some of the parents glare at him in an instant. Those families he ignored, looking around calm and relaxed. He spotted Shikamaru talking to a man who looked like him, but older, and a woman with black hair and a purple apron before walking over. Hey, Shika. Naruto grinned as he walked over. Oh, hey. He greeted with a small wave. Come meet my folks. Sure. Naruto nodded. So you're Naruto, huh? Responded Shikamaru's dad in the same bored tone as his son. He told us you sure gave off a show. Well, I'm awesome. Naruto nodded, joking once more as he relaxed, I guess I just for some good training is all. Well, it sounds like all the trouble you put up was a big drag. So, Naruto asked, sometimes you gotta make a big entrance and catch people off guard. It's fun seeing some of them squirm. A fox on his shoulder laughed. Shikamaru's parents were surprised to hear the fox speak up. Hi. The foxes waved. I've never heard of a talking fox, remarked the mother. They are summons. Naruto smiled. You can pet them, they won't bite. The mother raised an eyebrow and rubbed the fox's head gently. He gave a hum while his tail swished. Those are cute. Ino smiled as she walked over with her parents. Never knew there were fox summons, remarked her dad, who had darker blonde hair and a ponytail, while looking like the kind of father who could be angry when needed. I'm their only summoner. Naruto nodded. They've been training me for a while. They saved me. Well, from what we've heard, it seems they're doing a better job watching over you than the rest of this village, spoke Ino's mom, who had light brown eyes without pupils and brown hair which was tied into a bun with a red ribbon in it. Strands framed both sides of her face, hanging over her ears from behind them. She was fair-skinned, and slight wrinkles are visible near her mouth. Her attire consisted of a dark teal elegant dress, which sports an aquamarine-colored gem below the collar. Yeah, Naruto smiled, scratching the chin of a fox. They're my family. They are runts, are what they are, copycat. Kiba growled as he walked towards the small gathering. Kiba, growled an older woman with red marking on her cheeks like Kiba, while wearing the Jounin attire with scraggly brown hair. What? The Neendog partnership is our clan's specialty. He is trying to copy us with those dirty rats. Kiba snapped in anger/surprise as he expected his mother to be on his side. Just because he has foxes as his summons who stick close to him doesn't mean our speciality is some kind of property. She growled, bonking him over the head. But their argument was interrupted by a growl. Naruto's head was lowered with his hair covering his eyes and an aura of rage and hate flowing from him. If you want to discipline your son, do it like a real parent. Naruto growled as he raised his head, his eyes cold as ice as he glared at Kiba, because no one insults my family. And if you won't discipline him, then I will. Oh no, one fox whispered. Naruto's mad. A second added. Kiba, his mother, and the others were taken back by the sudden change in mood. I am sorry for my son's insult, Chunin Uzumaki. Kiba's mother sighed, grabbing her son by the back of his shirt. He will apologize. Won't you, pup? She snarled gently. Yeah. He nodded nervously. I'm sorry. And he's grounded, Kiba's mother added. Yeah. Wait, what? Kiba nodded before gasping and yelling in anger. You heard me. You can stay at home till your team's selected for being riled up and being rude. His mother growled with authority. Kiba snarled to counter, but didn't do anything. I'm Tsuma Inuzuka, and I agree. Seeing foxes as summons is a first for me. As I said, I'm the first of summoner. Naruto smiled as she calmed down. Now I have your name, but not the rest of you, he said, turning to the other parents. I am Inoichi Yamanaka, Ino's father. It is nice to meet you. The blonde man smiled, and this is my wife, Bala Yamanaka. Hello, young one. The woman nodded with a slightly proud smile at his obvious strength. Introductions are always troublesome. Shikamaru's father sighed. The name is Shikaku Nara, kid. Don't be rude, dear, his wife said with a glare, the man taking a few steps back in fear, and Shikamaru sighing in irritation. I am Yoshino Nara, Naruto. She smiled, bowing lightly, to which he returned the gesture. Hey Naruto, meet my folks, spoke Choji, walking over with a new bag of chips. Huh? Naruto blinked, turning towards him and his parents. The man was plump like Choji, with purple markings on his cheeks, with red hair, and wore a black samurai-like armor with a white hachimaki tied around his head. Next to him was a full-bodied woman with short, black hair and eyes which are accentuated by orange markings at each corner. She also wore a light shade of lipstick, a pair of red, stud earrings along with a high-collared Chinese purple blouse, which has gold trimmings, and the clan's obligatory kanji for food on the back, a pair of pants, and heeled sandals. Hello. You probably already heard me, but my name's Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto greeted with a slight bow. I'm Munch Munch Choza, aka Munch Munch Akimichi. Nice to Munch Munch meet you, the plump man said, eating a snack between words. Choza, put that down, spoke the woman. I'm Tetsura Kimichi, and you'll have to excuse my son and husband. They didn't eat a big breakfast. It's fine. Naruto chuckled. I had some time to research the clans on this place, so I understand the clan has a big appetite. They do. The mother smiled. And if you'd like, you can join us for a celebratory dinner to honor you and Choji becoming Chunin. Thank you, but I must decline. I have other plans. Naruto smiled, but I appreciate the offer. Naruto. Hinata mumbled as she walked over. Oh, hey there, Hinata. Naruto smiled. The foxes snickering as they saw Hinata and how she looked at Naruto. It feels great to be an all-time Chunin, don't it? Yes, it does. Hinata nodded shyly. Naruto noticed a tall man with similar eyes to Hinata standing behind her with a stern expression and long hair while wearing a traditional kimono. Hello, sir. I guess you are Hinata's father? Naruto asked politely. Yes, you may call me Hayashi. He replied with a slight bow. It is a pleasure to meet you. Naruto bowed again. Kumsha really beat in that respect your elders bullshit into, didn't she? Kurama snickered. She did. And it only sticks when it needs to. Naruto thought back with a mental grin. Well, I should get going. Naruto smiled. It was nice talking with all of you. Same. Ino's father smiled as they watched him walk away from the academy. Naruto waved a bit, chuckling as he walked through the village. But as he did, he saw more people glare at him or scoff as he walked past him. Although he didn't care, I wonder if they'll get tired of hating me and start hating on each other for a change of pace. Naruto thought it would at least be entertaining. True. Kurama thought. Man, this place hasn't changed a bit. Naruto whispered. Which is bad. A fox said next to him. It means stagnation, culture, technology, and population. The others nodded in agreement, taking in the sights. Meanwhile, a familiar pink-haired girl was following in the shadows with a mad look in her eyes and a hungry look on her face one would associate with a killer in a horror movie as they stalk their prey. Naruto. Naruto. My Naruto. She was chanting in her mind, he's here. He's really here. Naruto. Naruto. My Naruto. I want him. Love him. Mine, mine, mine. She thought, giggling madly to herself. Time skip. Man, I missed this place. Naruto smiled as he arrived at a ramen cart stand that was very important to him. I wonder if the old man and I am still run it. It'd suck if they sold it. Naruto sighed. Walking through the curtains, he took a seat before seeing a brown-haired girl come out in the usual uniform. I am. Naruto. She gasped, her eyes watering. Is that really you? Yep. Naruto smiled his classic grin before seeing I am quickly reach over the counter and pull him closer into a hug. He gasped, his face ending up between her breasts as she hugged him. I am. Oh, Naruto, I'm so happy. I thought you died. She spoke up while feeling tears down her cheeks. You did? Naruto asked, feeling guilty. She nodded without pulling away from him. I'm sorry. Naruto whispered, hugging her. I didn't mean to make you sad. Dummy. She whispered, pulling back while wiping the tears away. Why didn't you tell me where you want? I thought the old man would tell you. Naruto said guiltily. Figures. Scoffed one of the foxes while Iam's eyes went wide. Did that fox just talk? She asked, looking almost like she would faint. Oh yeah, say hi to my brothers. Naruto smiled. I lived with these guys while I was gone. In fact, they even trained me. Trained you? Yep, they're my family. Naruto smiled. And the first fox summoner. And one day, the first fox sage ever. Iam was stunned while feeling nostalgic at his energy. She had missed this. That was when she began to look up and down, actually taking in his appearance and how he had changed. She held back a gasp, her eyes widening a bit as she blushed. He's become so handsome, she thought. So is the old man still around? Naruto asked, breaking her out of her thoughts. Oh yes, he's here. She nodded, blushing lightly. Dad, we have a customer. She called back a second later. Good. We need as many as we can get. The old man grumbled as he walked out to the front. Don't worry, my brother's here, and I can eat twice as much. Naruto grinned, the old ramen chef freezing as he recognized the voice. In Naruto? Hey, old man. Naruto greeted. You're alive. Oh, thank Kami. Hey, I'm not dying that quickly. He gave a thumbs up. Otherwise, how can I be the best fox sage ever? And only, muttered the fox on his left shoulder with a snicker. Hey, Naruto huffed. I could dye your fur again. Remember last time? No. The fox squeaked, please no. Everyone laughed at me for a month. That's what I thought. Naruto grinned as he sat down. Well, looks like it's ramen time. He called. I'll have the same kind I had last time. Of course, Naruto. I smiled. But twice the amount. Naruto grinned. Shocking the two, I've been starving all day. Suddenly the old man beamed, running into the back and cooking, and if you two are good I might share. Teased Naruto as the foxes got off his shoulders to rest on the seats on both his sides. That made them grin in excitement while their tails wagged and stood there, still stunned. Before she chuckled and calmed down a bit, smiling at Naruto, you really have grown up. Yuta, you've become real pretty. Naruto complimented with a smile, trying to be nice. Oh, you. She blushed. Sighed, looking down guilty. It is a good thing you are here, Naruto. For the last few years we have barely been able to keep out of the red. Not many customers, but the food here is amazing. Exactly. It's your favorite food. Plus, my father and I like you. Sighed. Sounds to me like other people were bearing a grudge, remarked one of the foxes. Stick away from your food just to spite you, or maybe they figured you were helping the demon in their heads. We know, but their reason doesn't matter. Our store was barely staying afloat. This will save us. Smiled. That last part seems like it's missing a word. We know, but their reason doesn't matter. Our store was barely staying afloat. This one visit will save us for a few months. Smiled. We owe you so much. No problem, Ekin. Naruto, what can I do to repay you? Asked, taking his hands gently. He was surprised at the sudden move, but smiled. Nothing, just stick around and keep serving good food. You sure? She asked with a slight frown. There must be some way besides just food. A small blush spread across her face as she thought, like a date. The foxes took note of her red cheeks and smirked while Naruto didn't seem to grin, chuckling. What? What's so funny? Naruto blinked. All right, first round of food's ready. Father smiled, putting down several bowls of ramen in front of Naruto. Oh man, I can already feel my taste buds opening up. Naruto grinned, thanks for the food. He called before he dug in, devouring the noodle dish like he was a starving man as each bowl emptied out one after the other. Wow, blinked. I never get tired of that. Meanwhile, outside the stand, a familiar pinkette gave a deep love-filled sigh. Naruto-kun's appetite is magnificent. Sakura thought he's so cute eating like that. But when she looked at she started letting out ki. What is she doing, the slut? She thought with a snarl. Is she trying to get him by using his favorite food? I could cook better than that whore. Her fists clenched, pulling a kunai out in anger. One of the fox's ears twitched, something she noticed before putting it away and quickly darting away. You okay? Naruto asked as he stopped eating. I thought I sensed someone nearby, but it's not there anymore. So, Naruto, how about you tell us about what you've been up to? Smiled. Well, it's sorta long, but I figured I was gonna have to talk eventually. Please? Pouted. Don't worry, I was going to. Naruto smiled. So, where to begin? How about where you ended up? Suggested Tucci, Iam's father. That would be the home of the fox summons. He shrugged. Really, it was like a big forest with burrows around and filled with all sorts of foxes. It's fun. One fox grinned. But it sticks when this guy sleep barks. Spoke the second, pointing to his brother. No, I do not. Do to. Do not. Do to. Do not. Naruto was ignoring them, chatting with Ayama about everything that had happened to him, and I ended up getting a ton of siblings, a few dozen or 100. I lost count. Wow. Whispered in amazement, but also sadness. I'm glad you've been safe. Plus I've gotten training. I bet they never showed the others at the academy. I am sure you will be amazing. She nodded with a smile. You might even be a Chunin before you go on any D missions. I doubt that. Naruto blushed. I've still got a ways to go. Don't talk down about yourself like that. She frowned as Naruto put the money on the counter for his meal. I know you can do it. Thanks, Later. Naruto waved, walking away with his brothers hopping on his shoulders. Bye, Naruto. She smiled while staring a little bit. She sighed, chin resting in her palm with light blush. He's all grown up, to a point. I wonder what he'll look like when he gets older. She thought happily, licking her lips lightly. Time skip. Naruto was sitting back at his desk in the academy while waiting. It was the next day, everyone who graduated being there bright, and early hope you get a good teacher Hinata. Naruto smiled at her, his fox brothers and sisters all back at their home. Thank you, in Naruto. She spoke with a smile and stutter eye. I hope you'd do too. That was when Irika walked in with a proud smile. All right, class. I have the list of your teams. Irika smiled. I would like to tell you this. I am so proud of all of you. All of you have come so far, and now you all will help carry on the legacy of the village through hard work and effort. Everyone was smiling proudly, nodding. Now then, time to call up who your team is and who your sensei will be. That was when Naruto zoned out as the first lot of teams were random civilian teams. I hope I don't get paired with that emo brat, Naruto thought while glancing at said male. Otherwise I might as well bang my head through a wall. Now for Team 7, Jonin Sensei is Kakashi Hitaki. Irika continued. Hey, I know him, Naruto thought, the name being familiar, but where from? First up is Naruto Uzumaki. Irika read off. I'll remember when I see him, Naruto thought. With him is Sakura Haruka. Irika continued. Yes, the pink-haired girl screamed happily, I'm with Naruto-kun. Sakura screamed as she bounced around in excitement. And Sasuke Uchiha. Irika finished as the room went silent. Oh, come on, thought Naruto with a frown. He began to hit his head against the wall, Sakura screaming in anger. What? You're kidding me. Sakura screamed. You were putting us with that emo fuckboy. Calm down, Sakura, spoke Irika, who had to admit that was pretty funny. I'm just reading what was decided by the council and Hokage. Sakura growled, sitting down in annoyance. Now for Team 8. Irika continued. Shino Aburame, Kiba Inuzuka, and Hinata Hyuga. Good luck, Hinata, Naruto sighed, rubbing his bloody forehead, which was healing. Thank you, Naruto, she whispered. Yes, I'm with Hinata, Kiba roared with a grin. Your teacher is Kurenai Yuhi. Irika explained. Team 9 is still in rotation from last year, so we will move to Team 10. A lot of teams must graduate or get kicked out, Naruto thought, but that's what you get with being a Chunin. Team 10 is comprised of Choji Akimichi, Shikamaru Nara, and Ino Yamanaka. Your Jonin sensei is Asuma Saratobi. Sweet, we're on the same team, spoke Choji to his friend while eating another bag of chips that came out of nowhere. But with a troublesome blonde. Just great, another bother, Shinkimaru grumbled. Hey, I heard that, frowned Ino, before she sighed and smiled. You better not expect me to just be my family's jutsu. I'm planning on creating some of my own, be my own person. Both looked at her confused before shrugging. And now you must wait for your Jonin sensei to arrive and collect your teams. It has been an honor teaching you, Irika finished before walking out of the room. Everyone sat there, the concept they graduated finally hitting them. One woman with black hair, red eyes, and wearing clothing that looked like bandages walked. Teammate? She called. I am Kurenai Yuhi. Follow me, she ordered. Wow, hot, muttered Kiba with a grin as he, Shino, and Hinata got up and followed her out. Yes, she was. A brown-furred fox grinned as it appeared next to Naruto, wagging its 3 tails as it panted like a wolf, even making a few wolf howls. I wouldn't mind seeing what's under Tsuka. Many of you may be wondering what happened to the poor fox. Well, you see, he was currently getting his face stretched out by Naruto, whose eye was twitching. Shut up, Naruto said, releasing the fox. Don't go staring at every woman you see, Naruto chastised, sitting down calmly. He huffed and crossed his forearms. Killjoy. That was when another man walked in. The man had brown eyes, olive skin, short black spiky hair, and a beard. His clothing consisted of the standard Konoha ninja uniform with the sleeves rolled up halfway, flak jacket, regular shinobi sandals, and forehead protector. He also wore a sash that had the kanji for fire marked on it around his waist, a pair of black bangles, and bandages wrapped around the arms of his sleeves. Team 10. Here, Ino called as she stood up and pulled her 2 team-mates up by their arms. Looks like I'll be training the new Ino Shikacho trio. He chuckled while they left the room. Good luck, Naruto, Ino called like a friend, waving as they all left. Naruto waved lightly, relaxing in his seat. Eventually, it was just the 3 of them, Much to Naruto and Sakura didn't mind being with Naruto, so she moved over and sat down beside him. "Hi, Naruto." She smiled, blushing. "Isn't this great? We can work together now." "Kinda." Naruto nodded, "but it sucks with him." "Yeah." Sakura nodded, the two looking at the weakest link of the group. "Speaking of Sasuke," he stood up and walked towards them. "If you're going to start demanding for my skills, then keep your mouth shut," Naruto said without hesitation. He scowled and sat on the other side of Sakura. "You'll tell me what I want to know one way or another." "Never." Naruto shrugged as he stood up and summoned a few foxes. "Sup, bro?" The foxes greeted, Sakura and Sasuke shocked at their appearance. "I need to be able to do that. I need to summon animals." Sakura thought in determination. "That will show him I deserve to be by his side and no one else. That power should be mine." Sasuke thought in anger, wanting power even if he didn't understand it. "Why did you call us?" a black-furred two-tail asked. "Prank time." Naruto smirked evilly, his summons joining him. "This'll be good." Kurama smirked. A few hours later, Kakashi Hatake opened the door only for an eraser to land on his head, followed by a bouncy ball, a fish, feathers, and finally a bucket filled with pink paint. The one-eyed Jonin just stood there, having taken all the bits since the eraser to see what else was going to happen. Naruto and his small team of foxes falling over in wild laughter, while Sakura giggled lightly at the sight of their sensei, covered in feathers and bubblegum pink paint. "Well, it's good to see he hasn't gotten tired of pranks," he thought with annoyance, but also joy at seeing the young boy looking different and seeming more happy from how much he was laughing. He kept himself calm, though, and coughed, taking the bucket off his head. "My first impression. I hate you," Kakashi said nonchalantly. "Meet me on the roof," he said before disappearing in a puff of smoke. "That guy has no humor," remarked one of the foxes. "Agreed." Another nodded. "Oh, that bastard. He didn't laugh and hates my Naruto-kun," thought Sakura with a scowl. "I will crush him for that." Sasuke himself scoffed before all three of them headed out and went to the roof. "You're late," a paintless Kakashi said, reading an orange book. "You didn't give us a time limit, so how can we be late?" asked Naruto with a smirk. Kakashi sighed and closed his book. "Just sit down." The three did as they were told, Naruto sitting in the middle now. "Then we'll go around telling each other a little about ourselves," Kakashi informed calmly. "Can you give us an example of the format, please, Kakashi-sensei?" Sakura asked logically, "so we don't ramble and know exactly what you wish to know. Like your name, likes, dislikes, and goal." Kakashi explained. "For example, I am Kakashi Hatake. I like a lot of different things, same with dislikes. And dreams? Never really thought of that," he explained with an eye smile. That didn't tell us anything, the three thought in deadpan. "Now, Pinky, you first." Kakashi nodded. "It's Sakura Haruno." Sakura glared before calming down. I like," she whispered, looking at Naruto and blushing before she coughed and calmed down, and I hate Sasuke." She snapped in anger. "I also hate kunoichi who are blind and stupid, not taking their training or job properly. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. I like ramen, my family, and people who aren't blinded by hate. I dislike ignorant people, Sasuke, and I plan to be the best fox sage ever." Naruto introduced with a happy smile. "I am Sasuke Uchiha," said Emo mumbled in a very deep and dark time he probably thought was a cool tone. "I don't like much. Hate most things. And I do not have a dream. No, it is a goal. To kill one person." "Who is it?" asked Naruto. Sasuke just ignored him, as if he thought he was a badass. "Anyways, all of you will he tested to see if you will stay genin or fail." Kakashi continued, frowning at Sasuke. "But I thought we already passed?" Sakura asked. "To a point, but it takes more than minor tests and stuff to be a real shinobi." Kakashi explained. "The test you took were to weed out the lowest of the low. Now is to see if you deserve to be real shinobi." "Clever, I didn't see that coming," thought Naruto. "You really should have." Kurama mocked. "I mean, it was obvious." "Oh, stow it, furball. Only when you finally get laid." Kurama mocked once more. Naruto blushed in reply at that, while Kakashi turned his back to them. "Get some rest and meet me at one of the training grounds. Which one is something I'll let you figure out to see how long it takes," but don't take too long. Oh, and I recommend not eating anything for breakfast. Kakashi informed before he disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Not gonna happen, thought Naruto standing up. I'll see you two tomorrow. He waved before running off. Wait, Sakura stopped at seeing he was long gone. Her eyes were wide, her arms dropping as she sighed. Tomorrow I'll prove you who's your better and make you tell me all you know, thought Sasuke heading off the roof. Your power will be mine. Tomorrow I'll stand by Naruto's side. Sakura thought as her hands began to bleed from how tightly she clenched her fists. We will pass. And he will love me. The next day, the team headed out and had to be quick and efficient to find out which training ground was the right one. They soon arrived at training ground 4, and Kakashi was nowhere in sight. Naruto sitting down and pulling out a boxed lunch. What are you doing? Frowned Sasuke. Eating. Naruto shrugged, digging in why. Want some? But Naruto-kun, shouldn't we be looking for Kakashi? Asked Sakura. He will show up in a few hours. I looked into him a bit and he, apparently, has a tendency of being late for anything except missions. Naruto explained while biting into a rice ball. Want one, Sakura? Please, she asked in excitement without hesitation. He held it out while she snatched it and eagerly bit into it. Naruto's food, she thought insanely it was made by him, and it's amazing. Naruto looked at her oddly but shrugged and got eating. Besides, if we don't eat, we won't have the energy for this test. Naruto explained, and I would rather pass and throw up afterwards than to fail because I was too hungry to fight properly. He's so smart, thought Sakura with a blush. Whatever, Sasuke scoffed. Well, more for us then. Naruto shrugged as he and Sakura ate. Later. Where is he? Sakura screamed after they had waited 2 hours. He's supposed to be here. I told you he was always late. Naruto shrugged. And you were right, as always, Naruto-kun. Sakura said in over-excited joy, sitting next to him. Sasuke scoffed before they saw said man appear in another whirl of leaves. Yo, Kakashi waved before noticing what Naruto and Sakura were doing. Didn't I tell you not to eat anything? We finished already. Naruto grinned. Besides, it is better to have the energy now and regret it later than to fail from a lack of energy. He looked at them before letting out a sigh. Fine, but don't say I didn't warn you. So, what's this test? Naruto asked, clapping his hands. Kakashi pulled out 2 bells on strings. Simple. You 3 must try and get these bells from before the time runs out. If you fail, you go without lunch, and one of you gets tied up to one of the pots over there. He pointed to 3 posts. Anyone without a bell, when time's up, will be sent back to the academy. Wait, spoke Sakura. But there are 2 bells, and only 3 of us. I know. He grinned. When the timer begins, you may all come at me and use any attempts to try and capture them. He pulled out the timer, showing it off, and fair warning. Come at me with the urge to kill. Gladly, thought Sakura with a glare. You'll pay for risking Naruto-kun's career as a shinobi. I'll get them both and make sure he gets one. Then he'll be so thankful he'll kiss me and make me hers while that emo bastard is sent back from the start. Oh, so that's your plan, is it? Naruto thought with a grin, his body relaxing and losing all tension. I'll pass, no problem, thought Sasuke. Begin. Kakashi nodded, Sasuke and Sakura running into the 3s. With Naruto not moving, I said begin. I know. Naruto shrugged as he pulled out a kunai and span it while walking towards Kakashi nonchalantly. So you do realize your idea is not going to work, right? Kakashi warned, but Naruto didn't reply. He just walked towards Kakashi casually, whistling and spinning the kunai. I doubt he'd do this and think it would be easy. He must be up to something. Naruto was growing closer and closer, not even hesitating and never slowing down. Kakashi narrowed his lone eye while reaching for his kunai pouch, only to pull out an orange book. Wow, who knew you were a pervert? Naruto shrugged, throwing the kunai from a small flick of his wrist. Kakashi was quick though and tossed a shuriken that knocked the kunai away. I've heard that before. But his eyes widened as Naruto disappeared without even smoke. What the? Gotcha, Naruto said from behind him. Kicking him in the arm, Kakashi moved a little before skidding as he quickly put the book away and tossed 2 kunai at Naruto. But he wasn't there. His kunai hitting a tree. That guy's real tricky, isn't he? Naruto commented, leaning against Kakashi's shoulder. The former Umbu moved his arm out and managed to grab the front of Naruto's head before tossing him as far as he could throw. Wow, that was quite some distance. Naruto nodded from behind him, looking very impressed. He whirled at Naruto and was blown away. What the? How did you do that? Naruto grinned and flicked Kakashi's forehead, the fingers passing through Kakashi's forehead like Naruto wasn't there. Naruto then faded away, Naruto standing where he was when the test began. Fox style. Ghost Endless Army Jutsu. Naruto explained. Relaxing, basically you would fight me endlessly, but whenever you hit them or killed them, they'd disappear and you'd keep fighting. It is a mix of shadow clone-like technique with a genjutsu around them, is you don't see them waiting or see them disperse. Astounding. I've never seen a technique like this before. To think he's grown this much and learned something like this. Kakashi thought, getting into a serious fighting stance, no more tricks. First lesson, taijutsu. That I can do too, Naruto said, jumping up and down a bit to keep his body loose and ready while staying in his relaxed state. And the two ran at each other at high speeds. Incredible, Sakura whispered as she looked at the battle. Naruto-kun's so powerful and strong. This stupid village, Sasuke whispered in anger, feeling like he was being held back. I should have been taught that technique already. That technique wasn't taught in the village, a red fox said, sitting next to Sasuke. He jumped from the surprise with the fox not turning towards him. Now Naruto has a plan, the fox said. A plan? Sakura gasped, happy to help as she talked with a white fox. What is it? Can I help in any way? The fox sweat dropped, actually being creeped out. Naruto and Kakashi jumped away from each other, ending their clash and forth of attacks. Why should I do what that dumbass wants? No one orders an Uchiha. Sasuke scoffed. Because the hint to how to beat Kakashi is clear as day. Unless you work together, how do you expect to pass? I am an Uchiha, an elite. I can do this myself. Sasuke glared before he ran off. Idiot. The fox scoffed. Sasuke was quickly flashing through hand seals as Naruto and Kakashi fought, taking in a deep breath. Naruto noticed and went wide-eyed before jumping back, just as Kakashi turned and saw a fireball coming at him. Kakashi quickly replaced himself with a wooden log, the log being hit by the fire and being reduced to ash, a high-level technique for a Chunin, but he'll have to do better than that. Kakashi thought as he ran, dodging kunai and shuriken that Sasuke was throwing at him. What's that idiot doing? Thought Sakura with a glare. If he takes a bell, then Naruto-kun will fail. I won't let him ruin this. And so she charged in. Kakashi saw Sakura, who chucked several kunai at his head. He sighed and easily blocked her blades, using her momentum to basically throw her into Sasuke. The two of them went down with Sakura shivering in disgust. I touched him, she thought in disgust. Great, Naruto thought, facepalming. You three sure aren't doing well. Kakashi deadpanned. It was a simple plan. Naruto snapped lightly, facepalming. Which fell apart, remarked Kakashi in a bored tone. Shut up. Wasn't talking to you. Naruto snapped, walking over to his team mates in annoyance. I'm sorry, Naruto-kun, spoke Sakura, looking away with shame. Sakura, you panicked and reacted without thinking after Sasuke charged in. What you did was stupid, but the plan was already ruined, so no harm, no foul. Naruto sighed, making Sakura feel better, before he glared at Sasuke. But you? You ruined a simple plan. Set up traps while I distract Kakashi. Once you were ready, we would then lure him into the traps. If they don't get him while we still attack, then, by fighting as a team after that trap, hell, and we would have won. Very clever. Kakashi mumbled. That might have worked. But what did you do? You shot a fireball, which not only nearly hit Kakashi, but it also nearly hit me, and you ruined our plan. Naruto added as he glared at a clearly annoyed Sasuke. TCH, you were the one in the way. He scoffed before Sakura decked him in the face with a scowl. You're lucky I had a backup plan. Naruto sighed. Oh, and thanks for trying, Sakura. Thank you. Sakura blushed. What other plan? Kakashi blinked and took a step forward. Suddenly, he was encased in threads of ninja wire, several foxes holding the wire taut with a second and third Naruto helping them. That plan. Naruto smiled. Got him, called one with a snicker. How? Kakashi whispered. I made them and summoned the foxes while you were distracted by my ghost technique. Naruto examined and took the bells from Kakashi's belt. They and I were in near constant silent communication. When Sasuke launched the fireball, I quickly signaled them for the emergency plan. While the heat of Sasuke's fireball distorted the air, they set up the trap with their own illusions, shielding them from view. As Naruto finished his explanation, he threw the bells to Sakura and Sasuke. My arguing with these two distracted you from noticing that the air wasn't right in front of you. It helps that I was being honest with my feelings and what I said, keeping the setup from being noticed as you were paying attention to the performances in front of you. So you were expecting they'd falter? Kakashi asked critically. No, it's called a backup plan in case something went wrong. Like if you caught on to the first plan, or if I failed to distract you, or if someone, Naruto explained, pausing to glare at Sasuke before continuing, went against the plan. Teamwork is important and we do need to improve on it, but even the best laid plans need a backup. Otherwise a prank would fail. Well, in that case, I smiled. You passed. Naruto smiled. Sakura and Sasuke staring in shock. The trick was to work together as a team. If you can't learn how to work together, then becoming a shinobi who will be doing missions outside the village could lead to your death. Kakashi explained, looking sad. Meet here tomorrow, same time, and we shall start missions. Sweet, grinned Naruto. He nodded and his clones disappeared, the foxes releasing the ninja wire and freeing Kakashi. He turned and walked off while Sakura followed and Sasuke walked off on his own. Well, looks like my life will be a bit more lively. He smiled as he reached for his book and found the pouch empty. Huh? He blinked. Looking for this? A fox grinned, waving the book in its tail. Sorry, but you snooze you lose. Get back here, Kakashi yelled, chasing the laughing fox. We see the Hokage sitting calmly at his desk, almost all of the Jounin sensei with him. So, what can you tell me on your progress? Hiruzen Sarutobi said calmly and calculating. So far Shino and Hinata have worked well together, but Kiba is a bit headstrong and stubborn. He charged into my test without talking to them. Spoke Kurenai calmly and simply, but they passed, so Team 8 is ready. What about you, Asuma? The elderly leader asked, turning to his own son. Shikamaru is very lazy. He had to be forced to take part in the test. But he is a genius. He worked out a way to complete it in less than 5 seconds. Choji was also very impressive, but he was still hindered by his need to eat, especially as he has picked up his Shikamaru's lazy aspects. He was happy to sit around and eat. Ino was very eager to pass and basically forever them to work, motivating them to pass the test. Asuma explained they passed with impressive teamwork. Do you feel they might truly living up to how their fathers were in regards to teamwork? Hiruzen asked for extra information. At the moment, it's hard to tell, Asuma admitted. He nodded and turned to Kakashi. And how's Team 7 coming along? I believe that Sasuke Uchiha will be a problem. Kakashi frowned. He should have been removed from the academy and put into therapy during his first year. He has no care for teamwork. Yes, he has some impressive skill, but no concept of seeing underneath the underneath. And I don't understand why I need to focus on teaching him when his Sharingan aren't even active, which is when I can actually help him. Well, what about Naruto and Sakura? Hiruzen asked, rubbing his forehead. Sakura and Naruto understood the test and did their best to use teamwork very effectively as well. Kakashi nodded. Naruto has some dangerous techniques, but I believe he needs to learn how to fully work with a team instead of trying to do everything by himself to protect them. Sakura, I believe, needs to expand her jutsu repertoire, but she is very skilled. They passed the team. So then it seems the team might have to get a replacement then, Hiruzen admitted. The two sighed though, knowing the hell they would get. That's when the doors opened to show several members of the council walking in. Hello. Is there a reason why you are here? He asked the members of the civilian council. I am busy with a meeting with my Jounin. It's regarding one of the genin who became of Kakashi's team, Naruto Uzumaki. A counselor, Sakura's mother, glared. We are calling a meeting. Can it wait? Frowned Sarutobi with a sigh. No, the civilian council members said arrogantly. He groaned and stood up before looking at the Jounin. You're all dismissed. The ninja nodded and left, all but Kakashi because he felt like he was going to be needed. More of the council members walked in, with most looking as smug as usual. Sarutobi sighed, sitting back in his chair and waiting them to talk about their nonsense. Sarutobi, We need to talk to you about a certain genin who shouldn't be allowed to get any farther. A random civilian councilman said with a smirk. May I ask who this genin is and why? Sarutobi asked with a frown. The demon, yelled one with several others agreeing. He has a name, frowned Sarutobi. It's Naruto Uzumaki. Now, what did you wish to ask again? He glared. We believe it's in the village's best interest if he be removed from his status as a genin. We can't allow something like him to be free to move about as he wants. Sakura's mother said with a disgusted tone. He took a puff from his pipe and shook his head. That won't work. Naruto completed the requirements needed to graduate and actually performed very well from what Irika has told me. He explained in a calculating tone he, in fact, passed as the top ninja of the year. And his team passed Kakashi Hitaki's test thanks to him. Add to the fact you have no say in shinobi matters, and I see no reason to do as you requested. Are you mad? If that demon is allowed to progress, he'll destroy this village just like it tried to all those years ago. Kakashi frowned in annoyance, grinding his teeth. These idiots don't know what they're talking about. And we also feel as though Kakashi's time should be better put to training Sasuke privately. Another civilian said with an authorized note. That will not happen. He has been assigned a team, and Naruto and Sasuke will learn to work together. Neither will get special training, and neither will be dismissed from being a genin unless a situation calls for it. And considering they have yet to go on a mission, this is jumping ahead. Sarutobi explained. Besides, Sasuke should not have even been out on my team. Kakashi frowned. It should have been the top male and female of the class with the dead last. So Naruto and Sasuke should have been with the dead last. I do believe that was a civilian born again. He added as a subtle jab. That doesn't change the fact that letting that demon free and be a shinobi was a foolish choice. The last civilian. A kunai suddenly stabbed into the man's head. Killing him, he broke the law, which the Hokage had been polite enough to let slide the first 3 times. You have all broken at this meeting. Kakashi glared at the civilian council, explaining himself before one of them started telling about murder. Look, the bottom line is you don't have any say in this matter. Sarutobi told the civilian council with finality, and Naruto Uzumaki is loyal to this village. Because despite the hell you all put him through, there are a few people here he loves with every molecule of his being. And he calls this place home. So there is no danger of the fox. Meeting adjourned. But Saru the person was cut off as Sarutobi stood up with a dark aura around him. And civilian council grumbled and left. Kakashi, go back to Team 7 and ignore what the council says. Sarutobi informed. Yes, Hokage-sama. Kakashi bowed, leaving. Time skip. We find ourselves in Naruto's room, the blonde sleeping happily, and not knowing a certain Pinkette was sitting on the bed, staring at him, so peaceful, so handsome. She thought with a grin while so tempted to reach out and touch him. But she also wanted just look at him forever, like he was a piece of art. She looked at the dirty apartment and pondered on maybe offering to clean it up to make him happy, maybe dressed as a sexy maid. She thought naughtily while imaging her bending over and having Naruto start rubbing her butt. Then he would flip her skirt up, pull her thong down, and Sakura moaned happily, falling back with a nosebleed. Naruto gave a small groan as his eyes started to slowly open. Sakura's eyes widened in fear and ran away out the window and landed on the ground before hugging the side of the building, hoping he didn't see. Naruto mumbled in his sleep as he sat up, rubbing his eyes lightly. He looked at the side of his bed and blinked, seeing some blood there. How did they get there? He mumbled before he shrugged and got up to prepare for the day. Later. The sun was high, the air clear, and several figures were hard at work in the training ground. Sakura pulled several shuriken out and chucked them at the training dummies. Sasuke was shooting different fire techniques, and Naruto was busy sparring with Kakashi on taijutsu. Very good, Naruto. Kakashi nodded while blocking a kick before twisting it and threw him towards a tree. But not good enough. Naruto landed on the tree, his feet glowing as he stuck to the tree. Looks like your chakra control is growing too. Kakashi nodded, very proud. What? Sasuke and Sakura yelled as they saw Naruto. What? I had some free time and wanted to get a head start on it. Naruto shrugged. How can you walk on trees? Sakura yelled in amazement, so cool. All you gotta do is apply chakra to your feet and make sure you have enough to stay attached to a surface. Naruto shrugged. Were they not taught this in the academy? The two of them were silent, which easily answered Naruto's question. Suspected that. Kakashi sighed. Well, then that's going to be tomorrow's lesson. I could show them now and get it over with. Naruto suggested. Well, it would cut on time. Plus, this could be a good way for you three to trust each other. All right, Naruto, give it a shot. Kakashi nodded, pulling out his book with a kunai whizzing by and nearly pinning it to a tree. Okay, let's get to this. Naruto nodded, clapping as he walked down the tree. You two, pay attention to what I'm going to tell you. Sakura nodded eagerly with a smile, while Sasuke just crossed his arms trying to look cool. All right, so it's not as easy as I said. You can gather the chakra to your feet, but you need the right amount. If you use too little, you won't stick and will fall. If you use too much, you damage the area you're trying to stand on instead. Naruto explained, pacing back and forth lightly as he focused on what he was saying so it came out clearly and made sense. Wow, Naruto is such a cool teacher. Sakura thought with hearts in her eyes, imagining that she was Naruto's sexy student getting a detention, and she giggled perversely. This is no challenge for an Uchiha. Sasuke scoffed, walking towards a random tree. He put his foot on it and closed his eyes to start gathering chakra. Crack. The bark under Sasuke's foot cracked under it, splintering a bit. See, that's what I meant. Naruto deadpanned. Your turn, Sakura. Remember, be careful. Too much and it won't work. Too little and you will take stick. Got it, Naruto-kun. Sakura smiled as she ran over and focused. She set her foot against the tree and tried moving up the side. She managed to get up 2.5 steps before she lost her grip and fell on her back. Ow. She mumbled. See, that's how you do it. Just keep practicing and you'll get it. Naruto praised. Very good, Naruto. Kakashi nodded. Just be careful if you'll take my job. He joked. Maybe. Naruto chuckled. As a reward for helping your teammates, however, I think you deserve a reward. Kakashi said, pulling out a piece of paper. This is chakra paper. If you channel your chakra into it, you can see your elemental affinities. I already know them. Naruto shrugged. With fire it will. You already know them? Kakashi blinked seriously. Yeah, the foxes have a shrine for that, so they know how best to teach them. Naruto nodded. I am mainly a wind element with some water potential. I have been training that as best as I can, but there are not many water foxes, and thanks to what makes me special, I have a fire affinity that is almost as strong as my wind one. How much did those foxes teach you? Kakashi asked with a combination of shock, annoyance, intrigue, and pride. Not much technically. Naruto chuckled. They taught me how to walk on trees because of my high reserves. It really helped with my chakra control, but it also a useful tool. They showed me my affinities and helped me understand how to use them as best as they could. They taught me Bostonian's fox techniques, and that was it. The rest was me going through trial and error with them, throwing out ideas to me to help improve what I was trying to do or for something new to work out. Yeah, Naruto-kun is even cooler than I thought. Sakura thought with hearts in her eyes. That weakling does not deserve that power. Sasuke thought in anger. I see. Kakashi nodded, and that made sense. The foxes taught him the basics and guided him as he went his own way. Well, in that case, Sakura and Sasuke, you two can try and check your affinities if you feel up to it. Please. Sakura smiled. Kakashi pulled a second paper out and handed one to the two. Just channel your chakra in them, and we'll see who has which. Sakura nodded and did so, thinking about how she could get a really cool one and impress Naruto. Come on. Come on. Give me a super awesome and powerful affinity. Make it so that Naruto knows I am perfect for him, she thought as she channeled her chakra. The paper in Sakura's hand turned into dirt and crumbled away, dirtying her shoes. Congrats, your affinity is Earth. Kakashi nodded with a smile, Sakura grinning and cheering lightly. Sasuke huffed and copied Sakura. This time his paper burned, but a little of it wrinkled. What does that mean? Sasuke glared. You have a very strong fire affinity with a weak lightning affinity as well. Kakashi nodded, finally closing his book. I would have preferred focusing on teamwork, but beggars can't be choosers, he thought. And for some reason, he thought teamwork lessons wouldn't help too much either. Time skip. This is Fox. Target is in sight. Naruto whispered a few weeks later, hidden in a tree. This is Cherry Blossom, in position. Sakura said over a headset. TCH, emo in position. Next time I am choosing the code names. Sasuke's voice said over the headsets. Not on your life. Naruto snickered. Everyone, move in. He called as he jumped out of the trees and towards a cat wearing a pink bow. Hiss. It hissed out before quickly running off as they landed and started running after it. The three ran as fast as they could, keeping as close as they could with the cat without outrunning it. They were forming a block around the cat, and the reason was clear when the cat ran around a corner. A small army of foxes holding a giant net was waiting for it, the cat running into the net, which spring closed around it. Ha! Gotcha, you little furball. Naruto laughed, the foxes cheering lightly. The cat hissed before reeling back as all the foxes growled at it. Let's get her. It. Home. Naruto nodded. He picked the net up with the cat in it. Thanks, guys. Welcome, bro. One fox smiled happily. Show off, scoffed Sasuke as they walked back to the village. Shut it, growled Sakura before hitting him over the back of the head. Naruto-kun managed to get it better than you, Baka. You want to try that again, you pink-haired bitch? He snarled. I dare ya. She growled, cracking her knuckles with a dark look. Come on, bastard. Give me a reason to accidentally kill you. Knock it off, you two. Kakashi scolded, not looking away from his book as he walked past them. We need to return this little guy back to his owner. Fine. They grumbled, watching Kakashi walk away before they glared at each other. You would be perfect to help me repopulate the Uchiha clan. Sasuke growled, but that stupid attitude of yours is a problem. Don't even try it, emo bastard. I'd sooner let a bunch of wolves eat me alive than let you touch me with a pea-sized dick. But then again, maybe that's too big even for you. Sakura snarled, pulling out her kunai threateningly. Sasuke scowled at her and scoffed before walking away. Only Naruto can touch me, she whispered to herself with a creepy grin. Team 7 soon arrived at the Hokage's office, actually feeling sorry about the demon cat. Oh, my sweet little Tora. A very fat woman was squeezing the cat rightly, cheering happily. Serves you right, thought Naruto with satisfaction. But the foxes? They were a bit upset. No wonder he ran off. With a whale like her, as an owner we would too. The foxes thought, the fat woman walking away. Excellent work, Team 7. The Hokage nodded proudly, smirking as he sat back. Now for your next mission. Can we have a crank mission, please, Hokage? Sakura asked. Naruto deserves more than these chores, she thought darkly. Sakura, you can't just get a crank one already. You all still need to work your way up and not jump ahead, frowned Kakashi. We've already done a dozen drinks. And that's because you won't let me use clones. Naruto frowned. Because if you don't use your own body, you won't get that much exercise. Clones work, but they can't help your own body out from getting lazy if you don't participate. Kakashi frowned. But we could have finished a lot more jobs if I did. Naruto groaned. I am an Uchiha. Sasuke snapped. I demand a real mission. Not these chores. Shut it, Baka, snapped Sakura, hitting him over the head again. That's it. Sasuke snarled, ready to attack her. Enough. The Hokage ordered with a glare at them, which made them stop. I'll be the one to decide. So settle down, or you can do drank missions for the next 3 months. The two shut up, Naruto sighing. Now then, you all will work your way up and prove to me you can handle a C rank. But until then, you will continue to do these ones. The Hokage explained simply and seriously. The only way to get one early is if your teacher asks for one and believes you are ready. And I say no, Kakashi said with finality. Suddenly the doors opened and an old man walked in. He had a sake bottle in one hand while already seeming a little tipsy from the expression on his face. The man had gray-haired, bespectacled man with a large beard and dark eyes. He was wearing a sleeveless neck shirt with an obi, pants, and a pair of sandals. He was also carrying a towel around his neck, and finally, he wore a pointed hat on his head. Yes? Can I help you? Asked Sarutobi. Hi. I'd like to order an escort to take me back to my home in Wave. I am a bridge builder in the middle of a project. The man said, everyone able to tell he was at least slightly drunk as he walked in and took a sip from his bottle while the other's sweat dropped. I see. The Hokage frowned, resting his elbows on the desk with his hands clasped in front of his face and thought, perhaps this is simple enough to have these three work together. The elder Hokage thought. Kakashi, I believe you and your team should take this mission. Yes, Lord Hokage. Wait, what? Kakashi nodded, then looked confused. If they believe they should go for higher rank missions, then I'm willing to let them take this one. However, if something goes wrong, then you will continue doing rank missions until I say so. Understood? The Hokage frowned. Yes, sir. Naruto grinned quickly. We'll make sure not even a rabbit gets close to him. Sakura felt a weird shiver at that comment, as if it was somehow ironic on the universal scale, but shrugged and instead smiled at seeking Naruto. So happy. I will protect Naruto from everything. She thought eerily. Wait, you're gonna have a group of brats do this? Asked the man with a raised eyebrow. Naruto isn't a brat. Sakura yelled with a scowl. We're trained shinobi and know what we're doing. Minus him. She pointed at Sasuke. Sasuke glared at her and huffed. Fine. Kakashi sighed. Meet up at the south gate tomorrow, 9 a.m. We're on it. Naruto nodded, leaving. Sakura quickly followed. Naruto-kun, what if we both got our stuff ready together? But we live on opposite sides of the village, Sakura. Naruto reminded. Well, I mean, we could just go to one house, and then the other to help make sure neither of us is missing something important. Sakura said quickly and eagerly, hoping he will say yes. Well, that's nice of you to offer, but I think it'd be quicker if I did it on my own. He replied. But, Sakura mumbled. However, Naruto had already ran off waving at her. Stood up? Smirked Sasuke while walking past her. Sakura growled as she suddenly moved. She grabbed Sasuke by the shirt and slammed him against the wall of a nearby dark alley as she slammed a powerful punch into his gut and a new to his crotch before she pulled out a kunai. She had an insane, murderous look in her eye, waving the kunai back and forth lazily near his jugular. Sasuke gasped from the punches and went wide-eyed, seeing where it was aimed. For a supposed great Uchiha, I could kill you here and now and blame it on some thug with a drug. I could drive this right through your neck and watch you bleed out all over the ground. Sakura said with a sickening sweet tone, licking the kunai with a sadistic and insane grin. If you insult my Naruto-kun or me again, then I just might do that. Or maybe I will cut out those pretty thieving eyes of yours and give them to Naruto as a wedding present. She threatened as she giggled almost like a madman. Sasuke paled and felt fear in his gut. She's insane. She's completely insane. She pulled the kunai away and put it away while slowly walking away. Tell anyone this, and not only will I make sure you suffer, but I'll ensure the Uchiha bloodline ends without a single heir. And I'll keep that from happening by burning your family jewels and every single bastard sperm cell. She then turned around, the sun shining around her like a halo as she smiled innocently. Okay? She asked cheerfully with a cute head tilt. He gulped and gave a slow nod. Thank you. Sakura said cheerfully as she walked away happily. I should get some new panties for the trip. If me and Naruto get close and alone, then he might. That thought made her blush with a small nosebleed. She giggled pervertedly, smiling. Sasuke fell to his knees, shaking in fear. Oh God, I need to find out some way to tell Kakashi without her knowing. Sasuke thought, his world having been turned upside down in fear. With Naruto, we find our hero walking through the village, entering his favorite food stall. Hey, I am, old man. Naruto called happily. Hey, Naruto, taking a break from missions? Asked the girl. Nope, here to have a big meal. He smiled, because tomorrow I'm going on my first crank, and I'll be gone for a few days. Oh, I am, said sadly. That means I gotta stock up on as much ramen as I can. Naruto nodded with a smile. The girl nodded, forcing a smile. What's your order? She asked. 10 orders of the usual and 10 of the beef. Naruto called proudly. Right away. The brunette nodded, she and her father getting to work. Naruto licked his lips while feeling his stomach grumble. This will be delicious, he thought. Naruto, thought sadly, having fallen for him beyond the light crush she had on him when they were younger while she chopped the ingredients up. I hope you'll be all right. I don't want you to get hurt on your first real mission. Just tell him already, girl. Her father rolled his eyes while seeing Ayam in deep thought, snapping her out of her thoughts. What? She gasped with a bright blush. You can't hide it from me, Ayam. I know how you feel about him. Tucci said simply, I know you like him. She looked away and sighed. I'm just worried it won't be a big deal to him. Honey, this is Naruto. Her father sighed, He'd run across the village just to get your spirits up if you were crying. I doubt he'd be cold or be mean if you told him the truth. I flinched a bit at that cheering her up bit, because it was true. Naruto did run across the village when he was 5 because he heard she was sick and came back hurt and scuffed up, but smiled when he gave her dad the stuff she needed. You're right, she grumbled, upset with herself. Just go up and tell him straight to his face, Teuchi urged. She nodded with a serious expression. All right, I will, right after the orders. Good, he smiled. Naruto hummed as he sat at his stool, waiting for his food, as Hinata walked in shyly. She was caught off guard seeing Naruto there, but tried to be brave and walked over before taking a seat a few seats away from him. Huh. Oh hey Hinata. Naruto smiled noticing her. You here for lunch too? Why? Yes. My team has taken a beak from training F for an hour. She nodded shyly. Cool. Tomorrow me and my team go on our first C mission. Naruto boasted, unable to help himself. Hey, AC, crank. Already? W. Wow. She blinked in amazement. Yup, meaning we'll be gone for a few days. He nodded proudly. Oh, she mumbled, disappointed while looking at the counter. You okay? Naruto blinked. Why yeah. She nodded trying to smile. Just tired. Naruto nodded. I am arriving with his order. Here you go Naruto. She smiled brightly. Eat up and enjoy. Thanks I am. He smiled, digging in happily while I kept her smile before noticing Hinata. Oh hello, can I help? She smiled. You, one shrimp, please. Hinata said nervously. Right away. She nodded. Hinata watched Naruto eat and smiled a little. She found him so cute, blushing happily while trying to keep from looking weird. Here you go. The young ramen chief smiled, giving Hinata her ramen. She noticed the girl blushing and saw her glance at Naruto, putting her on edge. Oh no, she thought, quickly realizing the girl had feelings for Naruto. If I tell him with her here, will she be heartbroken or get mad? What if she tells him first? Then he might focus on her instead. She was beginning to panic gently, feeling self-conscious. Naruto himself didn't notice, but Hinata did. She saw me looking at Naruto. She thought in shock as she blushed brighter. Oh no. Will she tell him? Is she going to talk about me in front of him? Man, this is good. Naruto called with a smile as he finished his ramen. Yeah, it was. A fox smiled as it poked its head out of Naruto's jacket. I wondered why there seemed to have been less. Naruto teased. What? Are you implying I would go and steal your ramen? For shame, the fox said with a slightly sarcastic tone. Yeah. Naruto rolled his eyes. He looked at the two girls and smiled, summoning two foxes. Hey guys, I need a favor. Naruto said, smiling at the two. What is it, bro? One fox asked. While I'm gone, I want you to keep an eye around here and help out when you can. Naruto asked with a smile. You see, the people here are very precious to me, and I have heard people are real mean to them while I was out of the village, so I need you guys to look after them. The two foxes grinned almost sinisterly as they nodded, plotting with each other quietly as they ran off. Don't worry, Ayamekin. They'll get the job done. Naruto smiled at her with his wife grin, giving her a thumb up and making her blush. Thank you, Naruto. She nodded lightly. Well, bye. Thanks a lot for the ramen. Naruto nodded and ran off, waving with the fox in his jacket, making kissing noises. Naruto, thought with a smile, hearing him say that she and her father were precious to him. She felt her heartbeat increase before realizing she forgot to tell him her feelings new. She whimpered lightly, crying anime tears. Meanwhile, Hinata was looking at Ayam in shock. She recognized those signs. She likes Naruto too, she thought while feeling an anvil drop in her stomach. She looked down, feeling a small amount of despair wash over her. Then it's too late. She thought, she is older than me, cuter than me, and more beautiful. With Sakura. Sakura hummed as she arrived home, unlocking the door to the hell she has been forced in. She headed to her room, while hoping her mom didn't ask her what was happening before she left. She quickly and quietly ran to her room, silently opening and closing the door behind him. Sakura, is that you? Her mother's voice called. Sakura froze at her mother's voice. The hell? She had been silent as a ninja. Crap, she thought, memories of pain flashing in her mind. Oh, I thought I heard you enter. her mother said from the other side of Sakura's bedroom door. Yeah, Mom, I'm back. Sakura called out cautiously as she bought out her clothes and ninja tools, planning about what she would need. How was your mission today? Did you get closer to Sasuke? Her mother called in excitement. No, he wants nothing to do with me, Sakura said casually. She gave herself 3 pairs of alternate cloths, some deodorant, and soap, and a toothbrush. That all fit into one small rucksack, Sakura putting survival gear into a larger bag and getting extra weapon pouches ready. What? Then you gave to work harder. Her mother snapped, banging the door. Mom, he is gay? Sakura called through, technically lying. Sasuke might be gay, but she didn't know for sure. I heard him whisper that he wanted something up his ass. I highly doubt that, her mother said arrogantly. He totally did. Sakura called through, holding back her laughter perfectly even if she wanted to slit her mother's throat anyway. I am getting ready for my mission tomorrow. It's a crank. I will be gone for a few days. Really? That's perfect. Now you'll be alone with him and show him how great of a wife you'll be. Just make sure that demon doesn't get in the way. But if accidentally died, that make everyone happy. That's it. Sakura snarled, making plans for tonight. With Naruto. Done. Our hero nodded. Having finished packing, now I'll be ready for anything. He smiled and closed by a bag. Some foxes littered around his room sleeping. Unless a missing non shows up, remarks one still awake with red fur and black that was mainly around his eyes. Like that would happen. Naruto laughed. Later. Naruto hummed as he was waiting at the front gate of the village of the leaves. Where are they? Naruto said aloud, getting bored. Naruto-kun. A voice called happily and loudly. Huh. Naruto blinked, looking to the source of the voice and saw Sakura running up with her own pack over her shoulder. Oh, hey Sakura. He waved lightly. You ready? Yep. She grinned before pulling out a rice ball from almost nowhere. Want it? I had some time and thought you might like a snack. Really? Thanks. He blinked, accepting it and biting into it. That was nice of her. She is eating my food, she thought, happily giggling. This tastes weird. Naruto blinked as he ate, noticing a weird, metallic taste to the rice ball. I am inside Naruto. Sakura thought insanely, giggling and hiding a small cut on her hand with her glove. Hey Naruto, Sakura. Ino called as she walked down the road, spotting the two. She ran over, smiling. What are you two doing here? Waiting to head out on our mission, replied Naruto while Sakura frowned at their moment being ruined. Oh, so, you're going out of the village? Ino blinked, sounding sad. Yeah, Naruto nodded. Well, good luck. You'll do great. She smiled, cheering up outwardly. Thanks. What are you doing here? He asked. I just delivered some flowers someone ordered from my family's shop. It was a surprise for the person's wife. Ino said with a smile, clasping her hands next to her face as she sighed happily, so romantic. She said wishfully. Wow, sounds like someone's a romance fan. He chuckled. Damn right I am. Ino said passionately, pointing at him and winking happily. I want my boyfriend to at least try and be romantic every now and again. It shows they care. Quit winking at Naruto. He's mine, thought Sakura, glaring and trying to keep from shoving a kunai into her face. Even if Ino was clearly not being flirty in this situation and instead just emphasizing her point / joking, Sakura didn't care. She was it as a try to steal Naruto from her. So you only like a guy being romantic? Naruto asked with confusion. No, trying to be. She elaborated, standing tall. I don't mind if he fails or forgets, as long as it is clear he had tried. It is the thought that counts. And every now and again, or the special feeling of your lover being romantic is spoilt. Like having your favorite food all the time. It becomes less special because you have it so the time. Wow, I didn't think about it like that. Naruto blinked. Ino, don't you gave somewhere else to go? Asked Sakura with a sweet smile. Like far away from Naruto-kun. Not really. Ino shrugged. My team isn't meeting until 12, really. Damn it. Sakura thought angrily. Why? Naruto asked. Shikamaru has clan stuff while Choji is helping at his family barbecue place. Ino explained, so our teacher is letting us have the morning off. Lucky. Naruto laughed. I will see you in a few days then. Ino smiled at him. Maybe save a flower or two. Joked Naruto. I'll save you a whole bouquet. Ino smiled, and kissed his cheek. Bye, Ino called as she ran off. He blushed at that while Sakura started seeing red. Bitch. Bitch, 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 bitch. Just kill, she thought erratically, mental images of ripping Ino apart flashing in her mind. Yo, Kakashi waved as he walked over. About time you showed up. Naruto frowned, neither paying attention to Sakura's small mental breakdown. I had to help an old lady who got lost. Kakashi shrugged while reading his book, Tazuna with him. Bullshit, thought both genin. Sasuke grumbled as he walked towards the group, fear filling his eyes as he saw Sakura. Looks like everyone's here. Kakashi nodded. Let's go. All of them turned to the gate and walked through it. The group of 5 walked out of the village and into the forest, walking towards the land of wave civilian speed. Kakashi reminded as the small group walked down a dirt path. We know. Naruto sighed. That bitch Ino. Sakura thought darkly, trying to steal Naruto from me. I'll kill them. No one will take him from me. I need to warn Kakashi without Sakura seeing me do it. Sasuke thought in fear, but how? Can't believe they still had wet behind the ears genin take this job. Tazuna thought bitterly. They walked in silence, while Kakashi noticed a puddle up ahead with Naruto's nose twitching. It hasn't rained in days. Naruto thought as he smelt. There was no real feel or rainfall in the air. The scents were all strong and clear, while rain would make the air damper and make the smells less prominent. He looked at his teacher and knew he noticed well. Sakura noticed Naruto get a firm expression and grew nervous. Did he find out what I put in the rice ball? Oh no. He's mad. Now he'll hate me, be disgusted, and never want to see me again, she thought erratically, feeling like ice was encasing her heart. Suddenly chains burst from the puddle, the chains wrapping around Kakashi, seemingly tearing him apart. And it took less than a second. The genin jumped back while Tazuna looked horrified as 2 figures appeared wearing masks and had clawed gauntlets, with one of them wearing a cloak over his body. Sakura was frozen in fear, although she stood in front of the bridge builder protectively. Sasuke stood wide-eyed, shocked that his teacher was killed so suddenly before he got ready to fight. Naruto didn't even hesitate, drawing 2 kunai and getting ready to fight. He saw what Kakashi did, especially as he was paying attention. But all he could do now was fight these guys. Looks like we got a few kids trying to play ninja. One of the masked men laughed. They won't 5 seconds. I'll play with them. You deal with the bridge builder, spoke the other, holding his claws up. I don't think so. Naruto frowned. Sakura, Sasuke, you 2 able to fight? Or should I deal with it solo? I can handle them easy, spoke Sasuke. I'll protect him, Sakura said, guarding Tazuna. This is just pathetic, laughed the first man. Naruto frowned and charged while Sasuke charged at the second one. In a slight blur, a slight shimmer of light, Naruto was surrounded by 3 clones. The man he was charging at was surprised before swiping at one of them, only to see it went right through it. The 4 Narutos were a blur, moving quickly as they jumped around him and each other. The masked ninja was yelling in pain as the real Naruto, wherever he is, slashed at the ninja each time he passed. Sasuke, however, clashed his kunai against the other one's claw, who laughed before he jumped on the arm and swung his other leg up, which met the guy in the mask. The man grunted as he was knocked back, but he quickly returned blows. Sakura herself felt useless and wished she had a chance to actually fight. She was shaking in anger at herself, but also their opponents. She wanted to just abandon the person she was guarding and help Naruto, but she had to protect him, and seeing Kakashi get killed so easily scared her to the core. We're dead, thought Tazuna, seeing Sakura shake in what he assumed was fear. Naruto stopped moving, as did his clones. They stood still, their kunai all in a reverse grip, in a square formation. Suddenly, the masked ninja fell to his knees with his legs and arms cut all over with deep, powerful cuts, none of which were life-threatening, but they would be if he was left to bleed out, which he would, as he could not treat his injuries in this state. God damn it. How did you do that? The man mumbled in pain. He couldn't even move his fingers without pain shooting throughout his entire arm. Slashed at your nerves, but also just normal slashes into the muscle, while avoiding veins and arteries as much as possible. And with you seeing 4 of me, you had no chance, Naruto explained, his clones fading away. You damn gaki, the man snarled. Naruto ignored him, looking up at Sasuke, and he sighed, seeing the battle still facing on. Hey, Naruto called, holding a kunai to the throat of his opponent. If you don't stand down, then your friend here is going to lose the rest of his blood. The man turned and glared, seeing the situation. Meizu, don't give up, groaned the cut-up man. We gotta finish the job. However, this distraction allowed Sasuke one good punch to the now named Meizu's face, knocking him out. Good job, Sasuke. You actually kept from killing him. Naruto, joke, you can come out now, sensei. Naruto then called out. The others looked confused before Kakashi walked out from behind one of the trees. Well done, Naruto. You could tell I substituted out just before they got to me. Kakashi smiled. It also helped that I noticed the puddle and realized you knew it was wrong too. So I was paying close attention. You are lazy, but you are too good to be taken out by such a simple trap. Naruto shrugged. It was nothing special. I just knew what I was looking for. Very well done. Kakashi nodded before he walked towards their client with a glare to Zuna. Is there something you'd like to say? Because I doubt this is a simple C mission if there are shinobi apparently coming after you. What? The old man said nervously, laughing awkwardly. That was just one thing. The rest of this is just going to be a cakewalk. Liar, spoke Naruto. You've not convincing anyone here. You are hiding something. Sakura nodded. If you don't talk, then we'll turn and go back, and you can explain it to the Hokage, threatened Kakashi. Fine. The man flinched. You see, a crank mission is all I can afford. Our village has been taken over by a madman called Gato. He controls the shipping industry and basically controls the place. We can't import anything unless it's through him for an insane price. My townsfolk are dying of starvation and dehydration. I am building a bridge, which would free us, but Gato doesn't like that and is trying to get rid of you. Kakashi finished. The situation easy to work out. Yes, I'm sorry I lied, but my village needs that bridge. The elder man mumbled. Damn it, this isn't a situation for a team of genin. Kakashi thought in irritation, looking at Naruto sadly. I can't let Sensei's son die so young, and it's all right, old man. Naruto nodded sadly. If my family was in trouble, I'd do anything to help. Tazuna looked at him with relief and hope while Kakashi shook his head. Naruto, this is above what you three are ready for. We were hired for a mission. I am not leaving it unfinished. Naruto frowned. And I'm saying as your sensei we are. Kakashi snapped lightly. Naruto and Kakashi were now glaring at each other, sparks flying lightly. Before Naruto smirked, well then, looks like I will be helping him solo as the last Uzumaki of the land of whirlpools. He said cheekily, finding those books about my mother's family wasn't that hard. He shrugged, subtly hinting he might know more than he was saying, but also being clear with his message. Kakashi's eye widened while Sakura and Sasuke looked lost. Oh no, Kakashi thought. So if you want to turn and leave, I'll get this done and come back alive. But be careful. If that happens, I might be upgraded to Chunin. He chuckled. You cheeky brat. Kakashi sighed, but some part of him deep down was proud. Fine. If Naruto's staying, so am I, spoke up Sakura. And Uchiha never runs away. Sasuke smirked arrogantly, plus this'll be a good test to show this fool who's superior. Looks like I am outnumbered. Kakashi smiled softly, shaking his head. Okay then, we will continue. However, you let me deal with any enemy ninja who attack, understood? No promises, smirked Naruto, and Kakashi glared. Kidding. What do we do about them? Sasuke asked, pointing at the maxed ninja. Go on ahead, I will deal with them. Kakashi ordered. They agreed and started walking ahead. Kakashi waited until they were out of sight, pulling out a kunai. You two are the demon brothers of mist. Kakashi said to them, you have a bounty on your heads. He finished sadly as they screamed, Kakashi slashing with the kunai. With Naruto's team and the client. Damn it, I wanted it to just be Naruto and me. Sakura thought angrily as she glared at Sasuke, spinning a kunai in her hand. In her mind, she wanted it to just be her and Naruto, walking through the trees as Sakura petals falling around them. They would walk through the trees, soon stopping where Naruto would hug her and look deep into her green eyes with his shining green ones. Then he would whisper sweet nothings in her ear, telling her how beautiful she was and how amazing she was. He would then run his hands over her body, taking in her scent, and telling him how much he loved her before he kissed her deeply, and then take her right then and there. Now I'll have to deal with him. She smiled darkly as she imagined killing Sasuke after dropping off their client, remembering how she dealt with her mother the night before they left. Flashback. It was the night before the mission, and Sakura was silently moving throughout the house, her hands covered entirely in gloves and a random kitchen knife in her hand. She hummed while slowly heading to her mother's room. With a light push, the door opened, and she walked inside, never making a noise. In her bed, Fubuki was sleeping away while Sakura grinned, showing her teeth with dark eyes. Fubuki yawned as she awoke slowly, hearing a noise, but found she couldn't move. She blinked and looked to see chains wrapped around her limbs, tying her to the corners of the bed. Her eyes widened, but when she tried to yell, she found a ball gag in her mouth, muffling her voice. What is going on? Looks like someone's finally awake. Baboa. Her mother called with her voice muffled. What she said was a muffled cry of Sakura. Yes, I thought it was time I did something I've wanted to do for a while. She smirked while looking over the blade. A little something called revenge. She walked around her mother's bed, waving the knife casually as she looked down at her mother's terrified form. Oh, I have waited years for this day, you bitch. After all the hell you put me through, just because of whom I love. Fubuki gave a muffled scream of anger and fear while tugging on the chains, and before you ask, no, it's not that pathetic emo bastard Sasuke. Sakura yelled, stabbing the bed next to her mother's head, less than a centimeter from her ear. Her eyes widened while she tried speaking through the gag. Oh, hush now, mummy dearest, it's lesson time. Sakura taunted darkly while lightly moving the blade across one of her arms. Now first, let me tell you what I will do to your precious Uchiha. Sakura snarled, I am going to make him wish he had been slaughtered that night. I am disgusted by what he is. A miserable, pathetic waste of flesh who thinks he's all that. And he hasn't even been a genin for a month yet. Naruto-kun, though, spent years with the foxes and trained hard. Can you say your precious Uchiha did that? Nope, he just moped and acted like he was important. Sakura ranted in anger, pressing her knife threateningly against her mother's throat when she tried to argue, not to mention this whole village is a joke. They praised the wrong one. It should be Naruto-kun they worship. Naruto-kun, who is the fourth Hokage's son. All of them can burn and rot for daring to harm Naruto-kun. With each yell, she began to stab the knife, barely holding herself back so the knife missed her mother slightly and caused small cuts. Sakura, stop this, please. Her mother thought as she cried. That's why when the time comes, he'll die, and I'm going to make Naruto mine. I don't care if everyone is disgusted. We'll just move far, 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 far away and start a family. She grinned while moving the blade near her throat. I might even persuade him to make love to me on your grave so I can get pregnant. Won't that be lovely? Fubuki's eyes widened larger, beginning to scream her lungs out in oh. No, please. I don't want to die, she thought as she cried. Don't worry, I'll make sure your grandkids know about their obeison, how she was a cruel, cruel woman who hurt her own daughter. She scowled. I'll run your name through the mud for all to know, just like you and everyone did to Naruto-kun. And the best part? I'll get away with ending you scot-free. You disgusting child. I should have killed you when you showed signs that the demon had corrupted you. Fubuki screamed mentally as she cried. Oh, Naruto-kun, I can't believe this, cried Sakura in fakeness while covering her eyes. I can't believe my mom is dead. She looked her mother in the eye and grinned sickeningly. What do you think? I've been practicing. She slowly raised the knife to her own face, nearly licking it, but she held herself back. Oh, she wanted to, but she didn't want anyone to know she did this. And so, she moved her in higher, higher, over her head, hands holding the handle tightly as she began to laugh. Bye-bye, cousin, and say hi to hell for me, Sakura said as a farewell, a fake sad tone to her voice. Sakura grinned, and then the knife went down. Again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again. The entire time her mother was screaming into the ball gag, shaking to try and get out of her bindings, as she was stabbed again, and again, and again. All she could do was cry in pain as her sons flashed before her eyes, which were gradually going dull. Her life left her body. Sakura long since lost track of how many times she stabbed before she released the knife, leaving it in her mother's chest. She panted a bit as she stumbled back, looking at what she had done. But she didn't feel sick, She didn't feel a surge of regret or horror at actually killing someone. No. She just laughed, smiling. She just laughed. And flashback. Sakura. Kakashi snapped, breaking Sakura from her memories. Huh. What? Spoke Sakura in annoyance. You were zoning out. That is not a good thing. Kakashi frowned. Pay attention. Oh, sorry. She nodded. Not. I was in the middle of a nice daydream. Yes, Sakura. We never know when an enemy ninja may be hiding in the shadows. Naruto said, staying calm and keeping his eyes and nose focused. Sorry, Naruto-kun. I'll stay focused right away. She beamed while he found it weird at the sudden change in attitude. Okay, Naruto thought, looking away in fear as he felt creeped out. She is dangerous. Sasuke thought bitterly, angrily. I need to get rid of her first chance I get. As they walked more and more, they saw it was beginning to get foggy. This is weird, Sakura commented. Naruto frowned and threw a kunai into a random bush. What are you doing, dope? Frowned Sasuke. I heard something. Naruto frowned, the group walking towards the bush, and seeing the kunai stabbed into a tree, a terrified white-furred rabbit under the kunai, while Kakashi quickly noticed something was wrong with this situation. A rabbit. Sasuke deadpanned. You attacked. A rabbit. Don't look at me like that. Take a closer look at its fur. Naruto scoffed, knowing what he smelt and heard wasn't a rabbit, so he worked out what happened quickly. What? Sasuke scoffed. Stop trying to pretend to be a tough guy, dope. White fur. Kakashi frowned as he realized what was wrong here. He's right. This isn't an ordinary rabbit around here. What do you mean? Sakura asked. The white fur shows that it was kept indoors, otherwise it would have changed due to the different climate season. Kakashi explained, meaning this rabbit was used for a substitution jutsu. Someone's hiding, watching us, spoke Naruto. Kakashi nodded, before he pushed his team down as a massive sword that looked like a butcher's knife flew through the air, nearly cutting their heads off. It embedded itself in a tree before a tall man with bandages around his mouth appeared with pale skin and had black-white camouflage. His arm and legs guards appeared on it. He landed on the sword, which had stabbed into a tree. Zabuza, Kakashi mumbled, sweat dropping in slight worry. The ninja of the leaf were silent, glaring at the form of Zabuza. It was supposed to be a simple mission, escort a bridge builder back to his home village. It became complicated where it was revealed that a businessman called Gato wanted said bridge builder dead. Now the 3 Genin and 1 Jonin were standing in a protective formation in front of the client with the missing mean from the mist called Zabuza, nicknamed the demon of the mist. Honestly, if this is the kind of protection he got, then this is just sad. Zabuza, the killer, said with a dark grin. Tazuna himself felt his spine go cold while Kakashi stood in front of them with a kunai drawn. My, Zabuza. Working for a guy like Gato? Kakashi asked casually, doesn't that seem like small fry compared to your skills? I would have figured you'd be taking a lot higher paying jobs. Kakashi of the Sharingan and 3 pretend ninja. Zabuza with a slight cruel smile, I heard you were a great shinobi, and yet here you are babysitting 3 kids. Well, you know, everyone enjoys a good chilled experience now and again. Kakashi shrugged. How much did you get just to kill 1 man? Enough, Zabuza said as he jumped down, pulling his ridiculously large sword out of the tree with one hand and resting it on his shoulder like it weighed nothing. Just let me kill the old man and you and the brats can walk away with your lives. You 3 stay back. I'll deal with this. Kakashi ordered his students with a frown as he walked forward seriously. Man, I didn't expect we'd run into a guy like this, thought Naruto. Things just got interesting. He's terrifying, Sakura thought, the air thick with killer intent. Damn it, I should be fighting, thought Sasuke, whose sheer stupidity kept him from feeling too much fear. Kakashi was silent and moved his headband out of the way. His other eye slowly opened to show it was red with a black pupil, the eye having several spinning tomes. Ah, the famous Sharingan, Zabuza said with a smirk. So you are taking me seriously, are you? Sharingan, thought Sasuke in confusion and surprise while seeing Kakashi get into a stance. It never hurts, Kakashi said seriously with a focused look. The 2 ran at each other while Naruto felt disappointment. Darn, I can't fight, he grumbled, although watching this right could be good. Oh no, Naruto-kun is sad. I need to make him happy. Sakura thought in shock before putting a hand on his shoulder. It's all right, Naruto-kun. You'll get your chance. Yeah, Naruto shrugged. Kakashi ducked under Zabuza's swing before getting in closer with the kunai aimed at his side. The kunai missed, Zabuza giving a strong kick to Kakashi's chest only for the white-haired ninja to use his other hand to push the leg out of the way and slashed at Zabuza's throat. Said man, though, bent back, just barely missed before swinging his sword above his head and brought it back down from above. Kakashi jumped back, dodging the sword while throwing a few shuriken. Zabuza pivoted using the handle to the side to dodge them while slamming his foot against Kakashi's cheek. Kakashi was spent flying back a bit, flipping in the air and catching himself. He's good, Kakashi thought, his Sharingan focusing on Zabuza's every move. The white-haired ninja began to quickly flash between hand signs, shooting a stream of fire from his mouth. Zabuza, however, jumped back and landed on the water while using his chakra to stay afloat before going through his own hand signs. Kakashi frowned, a mist appearing out of nowhere and making it harder to see from the mist's thickness. Ha 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 ha. I hope you said your prayers, Kakashi, laughed Zabuza all around him. You think some fog can save you? Kakashi asked before hearing something and turned his head before a kunai whizzed by and nearly stabbed his eye. He managed to dodge at the last second, frowning. You forget, Kakashi, my mission isn't to kill you, it's to kill the old man. Zabuza's voice echoed through the mist, and I am a master of the silent kill. Kakashi's eyes widened, turning where the others were. He's coming your way. Move, Sakura yelled, pushing Naruto out of the way and tackling him to the ground. You idiot. Sasuke snapped at Sakura, pulling the bridge builder back. Zabuza's sword nearly hit Tazuna before he grabbed it and swung downward towards him this time. The blade was blocked by Kakashi using another kunai with some difficulty. Nice try, but you won't get past me just yet. Kakashi grinned. Sakura panted with a blush, lying atop Naruto. She was basically straddling his waist, her smallish chest in his face. Oh god. If I stayed here, would Naruto-kun mind? She thought, Naruto having hit his head as they hit the ground, making his head fuzzy as Sakura lay atop him. Get back. Kakashi called out to them while trying to shove Zabuza's sword back. The two trained ninja jumped back, trading blows as they neared the water. We're gonna die, muttered Tazuna to himself in fear. Sasuke, seeing this battle, began to feel fear him. He shakily pulled out a kunai and held it against his neck in fear. Sasuke, don't even try it. Kakashi snapped lightly, I will protect all of you. Bold words for someone who can barely land a wound on me, laughed Zabuza. I could say the same to you, but I'm still warming up. Kakashi smirked back. The two moved farther on the water before Zabuza jumped back and began going through hand signs, but he looked in shock as he saw Kakashi going through the same hand signs. I never imagined the power of the Sharingan could actually allow him to copy me this fast. He thought in fear. It's more than just that fast. Kakashi grinned as if he read Zabuza's mind. What? How did you know what you were saying? Stop that, Kakashi said at the same time that Zabuza yelled those words. Is this a fight or a fight between kids? Tazuna thought in shock. They are so strong, Sasuke thought, realizing just how large the gap between he and his brother was. And he hated that. Oh yes, Naruto. I would love to have a 120-second child with you. Sakura whispered with a happy get insane whisper, rubbing Naruto's chest and face as she snuggled against the unconscious blonde when he groaned. What? What happened? He grumbled as he noticed something heavy on top of him with someone whispering W. What? He mumbled, everything slowly clearing up. And then we can make our own town and raise all of them with love and make sure no one could ever hurt us. Sakura continued to mumble madly. Sakura? He asked, sitting up and making Sakura jump as she realized he was awake. And in Naruto-kun, you're awake, she gasped. Yeah, Naruto nodded with a slight frown. Why are you on me? And was that you mumbling all that? Nothing, she squeaked, and you were knocked out. I was staying low to protect you. Well, can you get off? We're still on a mission, Naruto asked gently. Okay, she mumbled, but she pulled away as slowly as she could. He sat up and spotted Kakashi and Zabuza fighting before two dragons made of water rose up behind them and crashed into each other. Whoa, he gasped. Damn it. If he keeps copying me, then this won't turn well for me. Zabuza thought, their attacks finally canceling each other out. Care to give up? You might live longer, suggested Kakashi. Never. Zabuza snarled as Kakashi cut Zabuza in half, and Zabuza turned into water. Damn, a water clone, Kakashi thought, before water suddenly shot up and wrapped around him, trapping him in a ball of water. His eyes widened while he saw Zabuza held onto it with a grin under his bandages. I've got you now. Zabuza grinned, turning to the genin. He thought he saw the bushes near the blonde one move like something was inside it. However, he did not sense in chakra, and he knew there were no other ninja in the area. So ignoring that, he summoned two water clones who marched towards the three genin. Sasuke stiffened up while Naruto and Sakura pulled their own kunai out. Stand down, kids. Zabuza frowned. Just walk away. Stop playing ninja, and I will let you live. We're not playing. Frowned Naruto. We got here through hard work, and if we back out now, then we're insulting all the others who wear these headbands. You are children. You don't understand what it means to be a ninja. They all said darkly ninja are killers, tools. This is your last chance. Okay, Naruto said suddenly with a shrug and dropped the kunai casually. Huh. They blinked while Sasuke, Sakura, and Tazuna looked at him in shock. Yeah, sure, I give up. Naruto shrugged casually as he walked towards the water clones. What are you doing, dope? Sasuke snapped. What? We are facing a Jounin, and we aren't even half a year out of the academy. I don't know about you, but I don't want to die. Naruto shrugged, acting as if he did not have much skill. Sakura was stunned and confused, but that's when it clicked in her mind, his fox fight style, tricking people, she thought. Really, we were biting off more than we could chew. Naruto shrugged, his arms hanging casually behind his head. Well, good to see it. One of you kids has some sense of how the real world works. It's no place for some brats who are trying to play ninja like it's a game. Zabuza said simply. Yeah, let me just get rid of my weapons, Naruto said as he dropped his weapon pouch into the water. And a massive blast of electricity shot out of the water from under Zabuza's feet, electrocuting him. Hhhh. He screamed in pain from the shock while the clones dispersed, and the sphere Kakashi was in broke while he fell backwards. He caught himself and jumped back. Meanwhile, two large yellow-furred wolf-sized foxes with four tails jumped from the water, one catching Kakashi and the other holding Naruto's weapons pouch in its jaw, as the two ran to Naruto's side. Here you go, bro. One said with a deep, tough male voice. Thank you, Rai. You to Jin. You okay, Kakashi-sensei? Naruto asked, taking his weapons pouch back and reattached it. Yeah, good thing I didn't drown, he remarked while nodding to the foxes. Thanks, I owe you too. What was that? Zabuza mumbled as his body shook gently, walking onto the shore again. I would like Rai and Jin, two of the strongest lightning-type foxes in the Fox Summit's family. Naruto explained, patting the two's heads. I summoned them as you just caught Kakashi, the two hiding under the water while I did my performance. He bowed a bit. How'd you like our collaboration fox technique? Lightning style, endless fox storm. The two asked as one with cocky grins. Zabuza growled and glared at them. You damn foxes, I'm going to turn you into a pair of slippers after I'm done butchering the others. You do not threaten my family, Naruto snarled, he and the two foxes getting ready. Zabuza put his sword on his back before quickly going through hand signs again. When some senbon went flying and stabbed into his neck, Zabuza's eyes going wide as his body went limp and collapsed. The team and bridge builder were confused before seeing a figure with a white mask with no mouth and slanted lines appeared with blue and green clothing as they walked over towards Zabuza. Who are you? Sakura snarled at the feminine figure. I apologize. I'm a hunter Nin who's been tracking this man for weeks. The figure replied, picking Zabuza up while bowing their head. Thank you for the help. Now I'm going to get rid of him. Wait. Kakashi frowned as he put his fingers against Zabuza's neck. He is dead. He nodded. Rai was silent, sniffing the hunter Nin with a frown while Naruto rubbed Jin behind the ear. The Nin disappeared with Zabuza while Kakashi let out a relaxed sigh. Thanks a lot, you two. Naruto smiled at the foxes when Kakashi fainted. Sensei. Everyone gasped, gathering around him. What's with him? Asked Jean. Chakra exhaustion, it looks like. Rai hummed. Great. We're gonna need to find someplace to camp so he can rest. Spoke Naruto. We are nearly at my house. If only we could get across the water. The bridge builder frowned. While inside, he was amazed at what these ninja could do. Wait a minute. Naruto gasped, looking at the foxes. Fine. They grumbled. What? Spoke a confused Sakura. They are going Tinkerus ride on their backs. Naruto said as he picked up Kakashi and got on Rai's back to Zuna. Sir, you ride with me and give Rai directions. Sakura, Sasuke, you ride on Jean. Jean, just follow your brother. You got it. But if this emo starts monologue, I'm tossing him off. Sakura frowned, getting on the other fox's back. I wanted to hold on to Naruto from behind, and now I'm right behind this bastard. She thought, considering stabbing him with a kunai as the road Jean, but the fox would tell Naruto if she did. I'll wait and see what happens when we get to the house. Maybe we can share a bed instead. Sasuke frowned as he got on the yellow fox, trying to stay away from Sakura. Everyone ready? Naruto asked, helping the elderly man onto Rai's back. After a few nods, the two foxes took off running, the two actually running on the water. Wow, I didn't know these things could do that too. Spoke Tazuna in surprise. We are chakra users too, like all summons. Of course we can walk on water like these ninja. Jean scoffed. Hey Dobe, these foxes are much larger than the ones you normally summon. What gives? Sasuke called with a frown. Flinching as he was elbowed in the gut by Sakura should have seen that coming. He thought, but he didn't trust sitting in front of her. He wouldn't turn his back on someone clearly insane. Pot, needle kettle, you called it black. Because the ones I summon are around our age or so, or younger. Naruto explained the most they normally have are two tails. They aren't super strong, but they are fast and very stealthy. Rai and Jean are around 60 and have 4 tails, nearly on 5. They are real powerhouses. You should see our old lady, a few hundred years old and 8 tails. A real force of nature. Rai chuckled. Careful, otherwise she might get mad if she heard that. Joked Naruto. Rai was silent in fear, gulping, and that made both Sakura and Sasuke curious about how powerful that fox was. Good boy. He chuckled while Jean and he shared a laugh. Up there, Tazuna called, pointing ahead at the end of the river where a small home sat. Right. They both nodded and ran as fast as they could slash. When they got there, everyone got off before they poofed away, and Sakura helped Naruto with carrying Kakashi. Thank you. Naruto smiled at Sakura, the two nearing the house, while Tazuna opened the door. Tsunami, I'm home, and I've got guests with me. The old bridge builder called. A woman with long black hair walked out with an apron on herself and looked surprised. Oh, I didn't expect this. I'll go make some room for them. Naruto blinked, looking at the woman, and admitted she was very beautiful, but he had other things to think about right now. Sakura, however, noticed him looking and inwardly glared at the woman as she headed back to the kitchen. Hey, is there somewhere we can leave our sensei? Naruto asked the woman kindly. Yes, you can set him down in one of the extra rooms we have upstairs. Oh, that reminds me, Inari. Come down, we have guests. The woman explained with a smile before she gasped and called upstairs. Coming, came a boy's voice as the team headed upstairs and passed a small boy with a neutral expression and hat on while glancing at them. Inari was a small boy with spiky black hair and dark-colored eyes. He wore a green jumpsuit with a yellow shirt and a simple pair of sandals. He also wore a blue and white striped hat. Say hi to these shinobi who helped your grandpa. The woman, Tsunami, smiled at her son. You're going to die? He frowned at the ninja before storming off. No duh, spoke Naruto bluntly. He walked upstairs, putting Kakashi into a futon. Hopefully, he doesn't sleep too long. Naruto thought with a frown, sitting next to Kakashi. When Rai reappeared, hey Rai, what are you doing back? That hunter Nin. She smelt very heavily of the masked man, even before she picked him up. Rai explained, plus she attacked with Sanbon. Yeah, aren't those used mainly to render the body relaxed or just stop someone? They're not used much for killing unless they were dipped with poison. Naruto frowned. You're right. Rai nodded, but they can be used to hit nerve clusters to force the body to react a certain way. Oh crap. Naruto groaned. Zabuza isn't dead. He and that hunter Nin are working together. Bingo. Rai nodded, meaning they might be coming back for you guys. Rai nodded. You want to summon some earth foxes and have them go on a hunt? No, we should train. Naruto shook his head lightly. This is going to go down, especially if Kakashi doesn't wake up, so we need to try and be prepared while we can. Remember, we are here for you. Rai nodded, and Jean said to keep your eyes on the pink-haired one. He said he felt something off about her. Dangerously off. Sakura? Well, he's not off. I have noticed something different the last time I remember her, but I'm not quite sure what that is, at least not yet. Naruto frowned. Just be careful, kid. Rai smiled before he disappeared in another puff of smoke. Naruto smiled before giving Kakashi a thumbs up and headed out, going downstairs. He saw Tsunami and Tazuna sitting at a table with Sakura and Sasuke, talking. So you all are really genin? But you're still children, spoke Tsunami. So, Naruto asked as he sat down. We are genin. We are beginners. Yes, we are young, but this is our choice in life. We have studied and we trained hard. We have determination to get stronger and protect our village. I'm just saying from what my father told me happened, it sounded scary. Tsunami explained. We're shinobi, we can handle it, scoffed Sasuke. We have been training since we were 8. Sakura nodded. Relax, Tsunami. I saw their sensei fight. He managed to fight pretty good. And if he can do that and still be alive, then having them around just might be what helps for me to get that bridge finished. Tazuna assured with a smile. Well, all right. His daughter frowned, looking at the three in worry. Well, I guess I will cook dinner. Will your teacher be okay? Yeah, he just needs some sleep, spoke Naruto. Tsunami nodded and walked off into the kitchen. Sakura herself scooted to where she sat beside Naruto and smiled while inwardly mad. She better not try to seduce Naruto-kun with those cow udders. She thought as she glared at Tsunami's mature chest. When I get bigger, I'll have Naruto do all kinds of things with them. She thought as she began to fantasies, giggling pervertedly as she did. Naruto and Sasuke noticed, with the first scooting away and the other getting a shiver. Sasuke thought he had to do something soon. That girl was insane. I hate the dobe and need all that power of his. But if I can warn him about her, she can get taken away and I'll use that as my chance to discover his secrets. He thought as he began plotting. I wonder what Tsunami is cooking. Naruto thought simply. With Zabuza. Said man was in a bed as the hunter Nin yanked the sunbon out of his neck. Shortly after the last was removed, Zabuza's eyes slowly opened. Ugh, my head is pounding. Zabuza frowned as he sat up. Thank you, Haku. Yes, Zabuza-sama, nodded the Nin while holding out a canteen of water. Even though they believe you are dead, you still need to take it easy to regain your strength. How long will it take? He asked. About a week. The girl said as she removed her mask. Her face was rather youthful and androgynous, which could lead to being mistaken as a boy or girl. But no matter your gender, she looked attractive, meaning that if you thought she was a guy, you would be thinking, I have the weirdest boner right now. Great. Zabuza grumbled in annoyance. Now I gotta wait to rip those foxes and brats a new one. That child is a summoner. Haku warned. If he can summon foxes like that, then I'm concerned on what others he can bring forth. Then you deal with him, Haku. Zabuza frowned. I will deal with Kakashi. We have a score to settle. Yes, Zabuza-sama. Haku bowed before he began to tend to his wounds. Time skip, with Team 7. The three were out back to do some training before supper. Naruto had convinced the two to practice their tree walking while Naruto was training with his water walking. Sakura gritted her teeth as she focused the chakra on her feet up the bark. She was doing okay, but no massive progress. I have to master this. She thought for Naruto. I need to prove myself to Naruto. Sasuke, meanwhile, was not doing as well. He was used to getting what he wanted by demanding it, by forcing it. So being gentle and holding back, not his strong suit. He kept breaking the bark underneath him, leading to him falling down again and again. That's not to say he was bad/not doing better, but it was against his nature, and each time he failed he got more angry and thought back to how easy this was for Naruto. Naruto was jumping around the water, practicing turning the chakra on and off in his feet as he hits the water while disturbing the water as little as possible. So far he was managing to keep his chakra supply from dwindling. The faster he kept going, But now he needed something to distract him from his full focus now. He called as he gave the order. A small army of foxes began to throw some weak elemental jutsu at him, or kunai/shurikens at him. He started to duck and weave around them, while keeping his focus on the water. He even had to use his hands to springboard himself as he dodged his siblings' attacks, his attention focusing on dodging, so he had to force himself to walk on water via instinct. "Come on, bro. Go faster," a fox called, shooting small fire jutsu. "Is that all you got?" Lame, taunted another, sending out several bursts of wind. "Oha," Naruto scoffed, dodging the attacks. My, what's going on here?" Kakashi smiled as he walked over using a crutch. "Hey Kakashi," he called over without stopping. "Just doing some training." "I can see that." Kakashi nodded, looking around the area, "and you all seem to be taking it quite serious. I'm impressed." "Well, Zabuza isn't dead." Naruto shrugged. "So you worked that out, have you?" he asked. "Yeah, meaning if we don't try to hone our bodies before we meet him again, we might not come out alive." Naruto nodded. "I see." Kakashi nodded, pride filling him. He managed to keep from any of themselves to slack off even when there's nothing happening. Good head on his shoulders. He thought, "Sensei, I am sure you would be proud of him." "You're still a bit slow." A familiar dark voice said from inside Naruto's mind. "You might want to do some running tonight. Basic speed training." "Huh, good idea." Naruto thought back to Kurama. "Just don't die." The fox deadpanned. "Please." As if I would. Naruto thought, "If I died, then mother would kill me." "I did it, Naruto." Sakura called from the top of the tree, waving in excitement. "Cool." He nodded, while seeing Sasuke still struggling. "Need some help, Sasuke?" "No, I'm fine." Sasuke growled, kicking the tree in anger. "Okay." He shrugged. "Bastard." Sakura thought angrily, stealing my Naruto's attention. With Zabuza and Haku, a few days later. Zabuza frowned as Haku worked on his wounds. Their employer frowning at him. "I can't believe you let that old man escape," the employer said angrily. This was Gato. Gato had puffy brown hair and wore a small pair of black glasses. He also wears a black suit with a purple tie. He looked like a very creepy and arrogant man. "If I stayed, he might have killed me. Then your previous bridge builder would be breathing." Zabuza scoffed. Excuses, and here I thought I hired a demon, not a secondary genin." Gato mocked, crossing arms. Haku frowned, seemingly disappearing and stabbing Gato's men in the throat and killing them. Said man was shocked before Haku appeared in front of him with Senbon. "Leave," she warned simply. He gulped and walked out with a huff. "I do not trust that little man," she growled. "Neither do I, but a job's a job." Zabuza shrugged before he groaned. "I will go and gather herbs." Haku sighed. "You are still wounded, Master Zabuza." Time skip. "Thank you, Tsunami. Dinner was delicious." Naruto smiled. "Thank you, Naruto. I wanted to do my best." Tsunami smiled. Dead. She's dead." Sakura thought madly. That was when Tsunami's son yelled and sat up quickly, punching the table. "What's wrong with you people?" The child yelled. "Gato is going to kill you all. You can't win." "And know this how?" Sasuke frowned. "Because it's true. All he cares about is making people suffer. You're just kids who are nothing but talk. You don't understand what it's like to suffer." Smack. The child fell to the floor, holding his red cheek as Sakura stood over him, having clearly slapped him. "You shut it, you snot-nosed bastard." Sakura yelled, crying. Sakura spoke Naruto before she cut him off. "You have no idea what I had to go through with my own mother, and here you are whining like a shit stain." Sakura yelled. "I lost my father as a child. And my mother, she hated me because of my opinion. She helped me as little as she could. She and I can't stand each other. At least you have your mother and grandfather. You have friends in your village. And that's nothing compared to what Naruto has gone through. He is an orphan. He doesn't have any family. And our village hated him. So until you have gone through the same hell, piss off," she yelled before she ran off. Everyone was silent and blown away. "Sakura," Naruto called weakly and sighed. "I'll go talk to her." "Don't. She should calm down first." Kakashi encouraged. "Just wait for half an hour before going out." "All right," Naruto grumbled before he walked off, going to the roof. "What would she know? I lost my whole clan." Sasuke thought in anger. Now if you asked him to name one member of his clan, he wouldn't know the answer because of his hate boner for his brother, but let's ignore that for a moment. Inari was stunned while the others were silent. He was silent, looking down and almost in shame. So why exactly does Gato want you dead? Kakashi asked the bridge builder. Gato controls us. He sighed. He controls the shipping industry, the only way we can really survive. But if I make my bridge, then we break his hold on us. The village is slowly dying and won't make it if my father can't finish it, spoke Tsunami. Good thing we are guarding you then, Kakashi assured. With Naruto. Naruto sat atop the house, looking at the stars and the moon. You okay, kid? Kurama asked. Just thinking, Naruto sighed. About? Kurama asked with surprisingly no sarcasm or a comment mocking/teasing his host. Just my life overall. He shrugged. I can't help but wonder what would have happened if I never met the fox summons. Probably be dead. Kurama shrugged inside his cage. Yeah. Hey, how's my mind looking? Still a stupid sewer? Naruto smiled. No, it's actually been pretty nice in here. That's good. Naruto chuckled before he jumped off the roof. Well, time to look for Sakura. Like Jean said, be careful, Kurama warned. I know. Naruto nodded as he jumped down before he took off running into the forest. However, little did he know, Sakura was returning at the same time as he left, with the two unknowingly passing each other. I should rip that brat's throat out, Sakura whispered as she arrived back, walking in silently. But if I do that, Naruto will find out and hate me. She thought as well, closing the door behind her as she forced herself to be calm. Relax. Maybe Naruto-kun will come and try to comfort me, she thought with a giggle. Little did she know how long she would need to wait. The next morning, Naruto had fallen asleep, falling against the grass after looking for Sakura all night while unaware of a figure nearby picking out herbs. Haku, wearing a kimono, blinked as she noticed the blonde sleeping. She walked over and saw it was the same boy from the bridge. She frowned, debating if she should kill the child or not. She reached her hand out nearing his throat, but moved it to his shoulder and lightly shook him. Excuse me, wake up, she urged gently. He mumbled and slowly started opening his eyes, and he saw the face of a beautiful girl. Is this some dream? Naruto thought as he blinked, looking up at the beautiful girl's face. Hello? Are you okay? She asked. You will catch a cold sleeping there. Oh, sorry, I was out looking for a friend of mine, Naruto said as he shook himself out of his shock and sat up. Who are you? I am Haku. The girl smiled after a second. Thought you said you were looking for your friend, correct? Yeah, she's got short pink hair and might have been crying. You seen her? Naruto asked in worry. I am sorry, I have not. She shook her head. Is she one of your precious people? Kinda. Naruto scratched his chin. I mean, she's my teammate, but we're nothing real close. I see. She nodded lightly. What are you doing out here? He asked back. My father is sick. I am gathering herbs to make medicine for him, she informed while not technically lying, but not being all the way truthful. I see. He nodded with a smile. Let me help. You don't have to do that. Maybe you should try finding your friend again. She might be nearby, Haku informed gently. She's tough. Naruto shrugged. I am sure she is back by now. She sighed. All right, you can help if you want. Sorry, am I annoying you? Naruto asked nervously, Haku admitting she found it cute. No, not at all. She smiled gently. I'm just used to doing this on my own a lot of times. Well, I'm happy to help. Naruto smiled as he stood up. What herbs are you looking for? And so the two got to work gathering herbs in, well, not silence, but they just did small talk and getting to know each other. So you are a ninja? Haku asked with pretend awe. Yeah, a Chunin to be exact. Do you live around here or in the village? Naruto asked. No, my father are here visiting, Haku said, half lying, but then he fell ill. If you are a ninja, you must be very strong. Well, a little bit, but I'm still learning and my sensei's more experienced than me or my teammates. Naruto shrugged, and even then there are a lot of stronger people in other villages. Yeah, I have my specialties and one day I hope I'm great, but right now I am nothing overly special. He's modest. Haku thought curiously. What about your team? Well, Sakura's pretty good, but Sasuke, he's an emo. Naruto deadpanned. All he wants to do is kill his brother, But that boils down to the fact his brother is better than him and humiliated him. Plus, he is beyond arrogant. That's just sad. Haku frowned. I believe you are only strong if you fight to protect your precious people, not yourself. Exactly, because what's the point of being strong if you don't have friends and family around you? Naruto agreed with a smile and a shrug. Me and my father have been traveling around since I was little that it's just been me and him. She looked down sadly with a smile. I know it's hard, but as long as I can help him, that's what matters. You are a great person, Haku. Naruto smiled. Thank you. Haku nodded, blushing a bit. Well, that is all of the herbs I need. Thank you. No problem. Tell your dad I said hi. Naruto waved. I shall. Haku nodded before she smiled and kissed his cheek. Thank you. She nodded before she turned around and walked away. Why? You're welcome. Naruto mumbled as he put his hand to his cheek with a proud smile on his face. Way to go, kid. Kurama snickered inside his seal. Oh, by the way, Haku called back with a cheeky grin. I'm a boy. She called before she ran off, quickly out of Naruto's field of vision. Way hey, Naruto yelled, his mind boggles in disbelief, while Kurama fell onto his back and laughed wildly. Back with Team 7. Naruto's voice echoed from the forest. Was that Naruto? Kakashi blinked as the team heard Naruto's yell in the distance. Who cares if it was? Scoffed Sasuke before feeling Sakura's leg swing up and kick him under the table. Ow! Are you okay? Tsunami asked gently, Sakura smirking but hid it with a drink from her cup. Just kicked the stupid table. Sasuke lied, looking at Sakura with a frown. If he had his Sharingan, he could kick her ass. You should be careful. You might break your toe if you're not careful. Tsunami warned. He'll have more to worry about than a broken toe when we fight Zabuza again. Kakashi frowned. I need to up these kids' training, he thought. Damn bitch. Sasuke thought in anger, trying to plot of a way to get rid of her. A few minutes later, Naruto returned, looking confused. Hey, is it supper time already? He blinked. With Haku. She arrived back at the base and headed to where Zabuza was resting and saw he was sleeping. Zabuza-sama. She whispered with a smile, preparing her herbs. I'm surprised that a genin like him would take being a shinobi so serious. She thought, honestly impressed. I was expecting him to think it was all a simple game. She smiled lightly, and she had to admit, he was fairly attractive. From his whisker marks being cute, the hair being an eye-catcher, and the blue eyes going well with it, and his joyful attitude matched his looks, his smile was infectious. A shame he's an obstacle. The world could use more people like him. She thought sadly with a smile. Time skip. Naruto yawned as he awoke a few days later, hearing banging downstairs. With a frown, he rushed downstairs, seeing some wannabe samurai harassing Tsunami and Inari. Get out of here. Leave us alone. Inari yelled, only to be backhanded by one of the thugs. Stupid brat. Scoffed one while they looked at the scared Tsunami. Hey, what say we have a little fun before killing her? And now I am pissed. Naruto growled as he walked towards them. Yo, douchebags. Huh. The two samurai wannabes turned to Naruto, and before they even registered him, he had jump-kicked one guy in the jaw, breaking it, stabbed the other guy in the hand with a kunai, so he could not use his blade, snapped the first guy's arm with an axe kick, also stopping him from using said arm, and finally slashed them both in the legs with kunai, so they fell to the floor in pain and bleeding out. Tsunami's eyes widened at seeing that happening all at once while they cried out in pain on the floor. What? She stuttered in fear and shock. Are you okay? Naruto asked her. She nodded before moving over to Inari and held him while relieved they were alive. You two need to get out of here. He instructed. I think Gato is making us a move. What are you gonna do? Asked Inari, seeing him head out the door. He'll kill you. Please. Naruto grinned. I don't die that easily. They watched him rush out and head down where the bridge was. Damn it. I'd like to know who decided it was better to let me sleep that long. Naruto thought in anger. Remember, kid, they have seen you use the foxes. You need to be unpredictable. Kurama reminded, it is time for you to get serious. Time to hunt your prey. Right. Naruto nodded. At the bridge, 5 minutes ago. I hope Naruto is sleeping happily. Sakura whispered with a smile. He is so cute when he sleeps. Hopefully he's having nightmares, thought Sasuke. Oh no. Tazuna gasped as they arrived at the bridge, which was covered with the dead bodies of his workers. What happened? Kakashi frowned as a deep mist covered the bridge and neared the group. Zabuza. He frowned. The air was tense, a mist covering the bridge as death seemed to fill the air. Kakashi and Zabuza held their gaze with the Chunin looking at Haku through his mask. Sasuke, you hold off the hunter Nin. Kakashi ordered Sakura, protect the bridge builder. I will take on Zabuza. TCH, whatever, muttered Sasuke, crossing his arms. Don't mess up, whispered Sakura with a frown. If we fail, then Naruto-kun will fail, she thought in fear. Will you shut up about your crazy fangirl obsession? Sasuke yelled before Sakura slapped him and focused on the two Nin ahead of them. Ah, look at the children pretending to be ninja. Zabuza rolled his eyes. Haku, when you kill them, go right for the bridge builder, Kakashi's mine. The masked ninja nodded and ran off towards them with Sasuke doing the same as Kakashi and Zabuza vanished from their spots. I will show you the power of the Uchiha, Sasuke yelled, throwing shuriken. Haku responded with Senbon that knocked them off course while one or two scratched Sasuke's shoulders. Sasuke flinched at the slashes, growing as he pulled out his kunai. When they got close, he swung his kunai, which met a Senbon Haku held, and surprisingly the needle didn't break. Come on, Sasuke, think, the black-haired teen thought as he pushed against the Senbon with all his strength. When suddenly his opponent began to flash through hand signs with one hand. What? How can he use hand signs with one hand? That's not possible, Sasuke thought in disbelief, quickly jumping out of the way to avoid a water jutsu. But what he didn't expect was Haku stamping her foot down AF, making the water splash up before they froze into hundreds of needles. What? Sasuke gasped, jumping back and backflipping to dodge the needles. Impressive speed, but it won't save you for long, Haku mocked, her tone being the only way you could tell how she felt. Ice. How? Sasuke glared. It's my Kekkei Genkai. I was born with this ability. Haku explained. I am able to combine wind and water to preform ice techniques, a lethal ability. So I recommend you stay down. Do not underestimate the Uchiha, Sasuke growled, quickly flashing through hand signs and firing a fireball. You're too prideful. Haku frowned. I cannot believe a child like you are a ninja. She jumped to the side while going through one-handed hand signs again before Sasuke had time to send another. What's he doing? Sakura frowned before seeing dozens of ice mirrors forming around the two. Oh God. How? What is going on? Sasuke gasped, feeling agitated. This is the end. Haku slowly went into one of the mirrors with reflections appearing on each one. The mirrors of ice had formed a dome around Sasuke, very small gaps between each piece with no way out. He looked around while we see Zabuza and Kakashi clashing and trying to one-up the other, but he could not get a clear view from the gaps between the mirrors. Which one are you? Sasuke yelled at the mirrors. Where are you? All of them, the mysterious ninja said, running through the mirrors. I will kill you, Sasuke growled and ran at a random one and tossed shuriken at it. The shuriken hit the mirror and bounced off harmlessly, covered in a small layer of ice. Futile. Haku held up Senbon in one hand before throwing them, but it felt like several hit him from behind to the Uchiha. The raven-haired teen yelled in pain, falling to a knee in pain. How did he do that? Sasuke thought as he stood up. Looking around, he saw images of the masked ninja in all of them, each image holding several Senbon. This time I'll see him and catch the bastard, Sasuke thought, preparing for a fire blast, but once again Senbon went flying, and this time from the front. Sasuke's eyes widened as he tried to dodge, failing miserably, which led to Senbon his arms. His eyes widened as his arms suddenly turned limp, unable to move. With Zabuza, he ducked under Kakashi's swing and kicked him in the gut. I'm not going to fall for that eye of yours again. Zabuza frowned, slashing his large sword. That's what they all say. Guess what happened? Kakashi frowned. But it was true. Zabuza was avoiding looking at his face and aiming his blade for the copy ninja's chest and legs. If I can catch him at just the right moment, this battle is mine, Kakashi thought. He just had to disrupt Zabuza's sense of time. Or balance. Not a lot, just enough. Zabuza ran and tossed several kunai at Kakashi's covered eye while lunging from the other side. The white-haired ninja dodged the kunai, kicking a leg up to kick Zabuza in the shoulder and pushed the massive sword away from him. He skidded back while reaching into his kunai pouch, but stopped. Fighting head-on like this was getting him nowhere. Zabuza was a highly skilled fighter with a large weapon he can wield effortlessly, giving him the range advantage and making Kakashi's kunai and shuriken next to useless thanks to the large blade being able to be welded like a shield. Plus, he saw a lot of Kakashi's fighting style last time they fought. If the white-haired Jounin wanted to win this, he had to use more of his large collection of jutsu and other techniques that Zabuza had not seen before. Catch him off guard and end this, quickly. Time to pull out the big guns. Kakashi thought as he bit his thumb, summoning jutsu. He called, slamming his palm against the ground. And a large poof of smoke appeared while Zabuza looked surprised, but cautious. Several dogs stood in front of Kakashi, growling. Each one varying breed and size, with a similar blue coat on them. Puppies? Zabuza frowned. You're going to try and use a bunch of mutts to try and beat me? Do not underestimate me. Kakashi frowned, charging with his dogs. I feel useless. Sakura growled, forced to be on the sidelines. If Naruto-kun was here, he'd have beaten these two in no time. She thought in determination and confidence. If only she did not have to protect this stupid old man. She could be beating that ice bastard and show Naruto how strong she really was. With said blonde, he was running down the road, while hoping things hadn't turned dark for the team. I'm on my way, he thought, nearing the bridge. He was going to have to show more of his skills, not something he was a fan of. Yes, he enjoyed showing off. As a ninja, the more secrets you have, the better, but when he got there, he saw Sakura and Tazuna not moving and was confused. Hey. Huh. Naruto. Sakura gasped, smiling in joy as she saw him. Why are you two just standing there? And Naruto asked, only to freeze as he saw a dome of ice mirrors, as well as the battle between Zabuza and Kakashi, his jaw dropping for a second. What the? They're already making a move. Naruto thought, quickly working out the situation. Sasuke, fighting the masked ninja in the disco ball? Yes. Sakura nodded, hugging Naruto and pushing her body against his end. Naruto, I'm so scared. These guys want to kill us. She cried, blushing as she felt his body against hers. He blinked and patted her on the back. It'll be all right, Sakura, but I don't think now is the best time to get cold feet, he said awkwardly. She stinks of arousal. Kuruma thought inside his seal, put off by the strange girl. You're right. Sakura nodded, pulling back reluctantly. Kick ass and promise me you will come back. Well, I wouldn't be much of a shinobi if I died too soon. Naruto nodded before he ran into battle. So cool. Sakura squealed. Naruto. Kakashi gasped, seeing his student while managing to keep Zabuza busy as his canines were keeping his attention. Sorry I'm late, overslept. Naruto joked, jumping between two mirrors, and landed to the entertaining sight of Sasuke getting owned by so many needles and looking like a hedgehog. Wow, Sasuke. You trying to be a porcupine instead of a real shinobi? Naruto laughed lightly. Naruto. Haku thought gently, stopping her assault as she stared at him sadly. Fuck you, groaned Sasuke in pain. Naruto calmed down, looking around the mirrors with a calculating eye even as he was still laughing. If this guy is meant to go around in each of them, it's to keep all the blind spots covered so he doesn't have a chance to miss no matter where Sasuke goes. Naruto analyzed in the mirrors. They are beyond cold. You need some real strong fire to melt these mirrors. Get away, Dobe. I can handle this bastard without your help. Sasuke snapped. Yeah, sure seems like it. Naruto snarked as he sniffed the air, mostly because he smelt something familiar. The water vapor of the ice was masking it, but he still had it. No way. Naruto whispered lightly before he sighed, smiling sadly and closing his eyes. I'm glad your father is doing better, Haku. He called. Haku's eyes widened while Sasuke didn't know what the hell he was talking about. He knows. Haku thought in shock. How? Oh, and that lie about being a boy was really mean too. Naruto frowned. The hell are you talking about, Dobe? Sasuke snarled. Haku here is a girl, not a guy. I thought I just made that clear. Naruto rolled his eyes, ignoring Sasuke as he walked into the middle of the dome. Haku, why are you doing this? He asked calmly. Because I must. Haku said coldly. I am but a weapon to strike where Zabuza-sama points. Oh yeah? Well, that's way off course. Naruto frowned, but if we have to fight, no hard feelings. he said, his mood flipping like a switch as he gave a charming smile. Haku narrowed her eyes before pulling her arm back and tossed the senbon at him. Naruto did not bother to dodge, the senbon passing through him like he wasn't even there. What the? Haku gasped, eyes widening. Now that wasn't nice. Naruto frowned as the smiling Naruto disappeared. The real Naruto, sitting on a mirror, you could have at least nodded. I thought we were friends. He joked, jumping down. How did he do that? I didn't see any indication that was a fake. Haku thought in disbelief. Now, shall we take this seriously? Naruto frowned as he lowered his body stance. He was in a fighting pose that felt primal, animalistic, like a hunter ready to pounce on their prey. But even then the stance was not too rigid or wild. It was flexible and adaptable. I won't hold back. As Zabuzasa's weapon, it's my duty to crush his enemies, and you will be considered as one. Haku explained with a frown. Doesn't mean we can't have fun. Naruto winked despite his serious body language and tone. My turn. There was a small moment of silence. And then Naruto was off. He struck a mirror, shattering it as Haku jumped into another. If she had been a second slower, she would have taken that hit dead on. He spun on his heel before smashing another one with his elbow. How is he breaking my mirrors? Haku thought in shock as she continued to jump from one mirror to another. This hurts, Naruto thought, hiding his pain. He was punching ice, using natural chakra and wind chakra to form small drill-like gusts as he hits the ice. The wind digs into the ice, splintering it lightly so his fists have a chance to shatter the damaged structure. But that didn't mean he was immune from the force since the ice was still pretty thick. How? How dare he? Sasuke whispered in pain and anger. This was my time to shine. Sasuke thought in anger, this was to be my first victory, where I showed my strength, where I showed the power of the Uchiha. Sasuke's eyes began to sting from his anger, his rage filling his body and mind at how Naruto was showing him up. Soon all of the ice mirrors were gone, leaving Naruto and Haku facing each other in the flesh. Now we can fight for real. Naruto smiled, this is getting me excited. Why don't you take that mask off, Haku? She frowned and held a senbon in each hand before running at him. Whoa. Naruto's eyes widened, leaning to the side and dodging. What's wrong? You look pretty without the mask. What? She blushed hearing that and kept trying to get him. What did he say to her? Sakura thought in a rage. Seeing red, how does she know about my Naruto-kun? Come on, Haku, you can see my face. Naruto rolled his eyes. No hard feelings on who wins, so why can't you show your face? She stopped moving and let out a sigh before taking the mask off. Happy. Haku frowned, her attractive face visible to all once more while clearly looking a bit uncomfortable. Yep, Naruto smiled, folding his arms behind his head. She's cute, Sakura thought, fire shooting from her ears. Beaten by a girl, Sasuke thought in anger. Now we can fight all out, but be warned, this is a bad idea, Naruto said, pretending to be cocky while winking again. Haku blushed before lunging at him. Naruto leaned to the side, the senbon cutting his cheek while he grabbed her by the upper arm and twisted around her, holding her in a very simple arm lock. But that wasn't all as he grabbed her free arm and pinned into her side, while also hitting her in the back of her knee. Haku flinched but slammed her head back, hitting him in the nose. Ah! Naruto gasped, grasping his nose and releasing Haku from his grip only for her to spin around and kick him in the face. Or hand. As he caught the kick and held her by the ankle. That was cheeky, Naruto grumbled, holding his nose, which caused the slightly mumbled voice before he threw her. UHG. Haku grunted softly as she easily caught herself, flipping between several hand seals as she prepared for another ice jutsu attack. Not this time, Naruto called as he charged in, throwing a punch that forced her to block instead of completing her jutsu. He swung his leg up to her side, which she blocked with her knee before jagging his free fist against her chest. Haku stumbled back, glaring as she rubbed the spot that Naruto struck, and then they blurred, increasing their speed and the fought around the bridge. Zabuza noticed and was stunned while crying out as two of the dogs bit into his legs with some grabbing his arms. Get off, you mutts. He growled, hitting them. That kid is actually keeping up with Haku, he thought. I can't follow their movements. Sasuke thought in blind rage while feeling his eyes hurt more. He's making me look like a complete fool. Slowly his eyes began to morph and change. The eyes turned red with the pupils staying black, and a single comma symbol slowly forming around it, and suddenly, he could see much clearer. What just happened to my eyesight? Sasuke thought, picking up a share of shattered ice and looking at himself in them before his eyes widened. The Sharingan. It's finally here. I've unlocked it. He was shocked, and then he began to laugh. Said laughter was heard by Haku and Naruto, who turned to see his new eyes focused on them. Seriously? Naruto sighed, putting his hands on his hips. What's so funny, Sasuke? You're interrupting my fun fight with Haku. I was winning, he said childishly at the end. No, you were not. Haku frowned, unable to help herself from saying such a thing from Naruto's childish act. Was so. Naruto grinned. Was not. She countered. Was so. Naruto sang, wrapping an arm around her shoulders playfully. Was not. She said, lightly pushing him, unable to stop herself from smiling. Was so. Was not. Was to. Was not. Was to. Was not. Sasuke slowly stopped and smirked while pushing back up on his feet. Now I'm going to show you both the might of the Uchiha. Huh. The two blinked as they saw the Avenger pull a kunai out and force himself to run at them. Is your teammate insane? Haku blinked, the two dodging. You just now noticed? Joked Naruto while kicking Sasuke in the back and making him fall on the front, pushing some of the Senbon into his body. Ayaha! Sasuke yelled in pain. Be careful, you hit the wrong Senbon too deep and you could cause serious damage. Haku warned. He can deal with it. Naruto shrugged. So, why are you working for Zabuza? I'm curious while we are having fun messing with this dumbass. Seeing how this was becoming less of a fight and more a casual chat, she let out a sigh. Fine. Years ago there was a bad war. Something that caused fear in people who managed to survive, since many people who were in the war had Kekai Genkais. My parents had me after it, but I soon found out about my ability, and my mother had it too. But when my father heard of it, he gathered a small mob to try and have us killed. Your father gathered a mob to kill you and your mother? The asshole. Naruto snapped, jumping casually over a charging Sasuke. His sentiment touched Haku, making her smile softly. What happened next? Before he could though, my powers awakened and I killed them, but my mother couldn't be saved. She looked down while gripping her hands. Good. Naruto sighed, otherwise I'd be killing him. It wasn't long after that Zabuza-sama found me and took me in. He gave me a new purpose for my ability. He helped me become what I am. His loyal weapon, Haku said, a gentle and sad smile on her face. Please, don't talk that rubbish. Naruto scoffed, getting annoyed now and just punching Sasuke hard in the face and knocking him out. We both know that isn't true. Yesadaishi was cut off when Naruto put a finger to her mouth, his act gentle and caring. If you were a real weapon, you would have killed me the SEC you found out who I was. A weapon has no emotions or life, but the fact you talked and spared me showed you still have all that. Also, if that were true, then why take the time to listen to me and tell me your origins? Naruto explained gently. Plus I knew you were not fighting seriously, no matter what you said, because I wasn't either. And I know that if we fought seriously, if I landed one hit, I win. But you have the speed and ability to take me out before I even got that hit. If we fought for real, it would be a 50-50 on who would win. And finally, if you were a weapon, when we first met, you wouldn't have called Zabuza your father in your lie. Her eyes widened while shutting her eyes and feeling conflicted, but she thought in conflict, only for him to interrupt again. You care about him. You see him as the father that bastard wasn't, which means he cares about you too. Naruto explained gently, rubbing her cheeks softly. You are not a weapon. You are Haku, a beautiful snow maiden with a badass dad and killer ice skills. You also aren't bad with those needles of yours. He smiled, joking gently at the end. She looked at him surprised while also blushing at the compliment. Thank you, she whispered, blushing gently and smile. No problems. Naruto shrugged, his eyes widening lightly as she kissed his cheek. Kill the bitch. Kill the bitch. Kill the bitch. Sakura thought, almost attacking blindly. Oh, Naruto blinked, a bright red blush quickly spreading over his face. It was my thank you. She shrugged like it was no big deal before they both heard the sound of thousands of birds chirping. They turned to Zabuza and Kakashi to see said silver-haired Chunin holding one arm down to the ground as electricity was gathering in his hand, and Zabuza was being held by his dogs all over Zabuza-sama. Haku yelled, about to run to his side, but Naruto grabbed her wrist. Go, Naruto called, quickly summoning two large dog-sized foxes who took off at Kakashi in the blink of an eye. It's over, the masked ninja called, Kakashi himself running towards the nin. He aimed his lightning-coated hand at the missing nin's chest, only for a wall of stone to appear out of nowhere and get in his way, a large stone dog-like creature charging into his side. Oh no you don't, one shouted before they jumped up and tackled him. The two foxes now had Kakashi pinned to the ground, one looking like it made of stone. Trust me, Naruto whispered in Haku's ear, getting to work. Hey, what are you two doing? Kakashi snapped, the stone fox returning to normal. No need for violence, Kakashi-sensei. I don't want Haku to lose her father, Naruto explained. Ninja wire wrapped around Haku in a way that would clearly decapitate her if she struggled, or if he pulled. I am sure Zabuza is willing to give up with this. He smiled at the injured man. What? That's crazy. Zabuza spat, while groaning since the dogs didn't let up and their teeth were digging into him all around, but seeing Haku in that state. He sighed, saying a multitude of curses under his breath. He was in no condition to keep fighting and Haku's life was in danger. Fine, I give. Cool. Naruto smiled, the ninja wire around Haku disappearing into thin air, showing the wire had been fake. Now, we just gotta get this bridge finished and the mission's complete. Naruto smiled before clapping could be heard. Well, seems the nins I hired turned out to be weaker than I figured. Should have saved my money by hiring a couple of pit bulls. A high and mighty voice mocked from inside the most. Gato, Zabuza growled. Walking into view was a short man in a suit with shades on and a cocky smirk on, and behind him were 100 men carrying random weapons. Gato, what the hell is going on? Growled Zabuza. Missing nin like her so expensive, not worth your price. Gato shrugged. I was planning on having these guys kill you after you finished your job, and you were all weak and tired. These guys, even all together, cost less than you. But it seems as if the demon of the mist is really a puppy. He and his men began to laugh, Zabuza snarling in anger. It seems we have a common enemy now, Zabuza, Kakashi said. I can do this alone. Give me a kunai, Zabuza snarled. Actually, why don't you let Haku and I deal with this? Naruto smiled at the two jonin. Huh, they and Haku blinked. You're both tired and Haku and I never decided who won outmatch. Naruto smirked, looking at the female ice jutsu user. What do you say, Haku? Whoever kills the most mercenaries wins. Loser does whatever the loser wants. Within reason, as judged by their jonin. He challenged, stretching lightly. She looked at him and then the crowd before pulling out several senbon. Remember those words when I win. She mocked gently, a gentle smile on her face. Oh ho, someone's full of themselves. He laughed with a wink, throwing a kunai up and down. Enough of this. Gato glared, clicking his fingers. Attack. Kill them all. But leave the woman alive. I want some fun. Yeah, the thugs roared out and ran at them. You're going to pay for that last line. Naruto snarled, chakra and natural energy forming around his fingers as he charged. He and Haku were dancing around the battlefield, taking out every mercenary with one hit each in less than 3 seconds. Blood flew out as one by one they fell to the ground without a word. Kakashi and Zabuza watched in a mix of pride and shock at their students' skills, Sakura watching Naruto with hearts in her eyes, and the older bridge builder looking in awe. Soon Gato was the only one left, his mercenaries. 50. Naruto and Haku said at the same time as the last one fell, the two freezing and looking at each other. It was a tie, and Gato was the only one left, and the small businessman knew that too. The two slowly looked at him with glints while he felt his blood run cold with fear, darkness covering the two's faces while their eyes shone red almost like they were demons themselves. St. Stay back, Gato yelled, backing up in pure terror. Don't hurt me. Please. I'm sorry. I'll pay you. Money won't save you, you midget bastard. Naruto snarled. Suddenly 3 senbon hit Gato in the neck, blood pouring out of his mouth and dying. I do believe I win. Haku smiled teasingly, pointing at said killer Simban. Why? No fair. Naruto gasped and glared. He was busy monologuing. I killed him, I won. Was all Haku said. I have 51, you have 50. Fine, fine. Naruto signed and crossed his arms, clearly giving up in the argument. What do you want? Is now the time for this? Sakura snarled a bit, wanting to attack her. Stop being so friendly with him, hussy, she thought. I guess. Naruto nodded. As the villagers arrived, armed to battle, and were shocked to see the dead Gato. Gato. He's dead. He's dead. Oh, thank you, Kami. They did it. The cheers were near deafening, Zabuza groaning and leaning against a wall. The dogs let go while he could feel the blood loss getting to him. Well done, kid. He mumbled, I can't believe he managed to do that. What happened to Sasuke? Kakashi blinked. Oh, he spouted on and on about his new power or something. I tuned him out after the first minute. Naruto lied. I think he has chakra exhaustion. Haku explained, lying as she shared a sneaky smile with Naruto. We better leave him alone to rest, smiled Sakura, and let the buzzards eat him. Why don't we just go back to my place? Tazuna suggested. He definitely needed a drink and a good before he finished the bridge after today. Sounds good to me, grinned Naruto. Time skip. Naruto was laying on the grass with his eyes closed as he was enjoying the sun, Tazuna busy on building the bridge. It had been a week since the bridge battle and Haku had guilt-tripped Zabuza into staying and helping. You impressed me, kid. You really did, Kurama said from inside his seal, smiling. Thanks. Naruto smiled, enjoying the sun. You seem comfy, a female voice said from above him. Naruto opening an eye to see Haku standing over him, mostly blocking out the light, which also concealed her in the shadow she cast. Hey Haku, he smiled, the girl moving back a bit so he could see her in the simple green kimono she was wearing. Wow. He mumbled, the plain outfit looking very good on her. Thank you. She smiled with a blush, sitting next to him. How are you today? Well, I was enjoying the sun for a bit, but I think I might be enjoying something else. Naruto shrugged. What is that? She asked curiously. You. He smiled while tapping her nose with his finger. Are you flirting with me? Haku blushed. I don't know, you tell me. Naruto shrugged with a smile. Go for it, kid. Go for the kill. Kurama called, cheering the blonde on. Take her. Fuck her. Get a mate. I do not know what to say. Haku blinked. Well, I know. Why don't you tell me what you want me to do? After all, you won the bet, so I gotta do what you pick. Naruto asked with a smile. First I would like you to kiss me. Haku whispered with a blush. You heard her, kid. Take her breath away. The Ninetales encouraged, very eager and excited to see how the child of the foxes would progress. If you're sure. Naruto smiled as he cupped her cheek, slowly leaning in and pressing his lips against hers. Haku closed her eyes while marveling that this was actually happen, her first kiss. Their lips pressed together gently, both clearly a bit clumsy and unskilled with kissing, but they followed their instincts and just kissed each other sweetly. Wow, her lips are so soft. Naruto thought in slight surprise. He is so gentle. Haku thought. Now add some tongue, kid. Kurama instructed, laughing. I don't want to scare her off, you perverted fox. Naruto thought back in annoyance. Before an argument could break out, Haku broke the kiss, smiling. That was very nice. She smiled. Now for the second half of what I want you to do. I want a date. Someone wants to be spoiled. He teased. I'm serious. She frowned, pitting his chest lightly. I'm kidding, consider it done. Naruto promised with a smile, rubbing the spot where she hit him. She smiled back while moving closer and laying her head on his shoulder. What's going on here? Zabuza frowned from behind the two, an aura of evil and a promise of pain in his tone. Bye, Haku. I'll see you later. Naruto yelled as he took off running as fast as he could to get away from the mist demon. Zabuza-sama. Haku frowned. Elsewhere. Sasuke was training hard in the woods, determined to master the Sharingan. He was currently having a moment of rest, believing he was now the strongest ever. Soon I will take everything that the fool knows. Not even that psycho can stop me, he muttered with a smirk before feeling a presence behind him. Oh really? A dark voice said behind him. Huh. Sasuke blinked as he turned around, only for a rock the size of a large dog to hit him in the face. Thanks to the strength and durability he had built up as a ninja so far, that did not cause too much damage, just knocking him out with a small cut on the side of his head, revealing Sakura standing there. You think you can steal Naruto-kun's techniques? His power? You think you're better than him? Sakura snarled as she pulled out a bottle of green liquid, opening it with a pop. She got on her knees, ironically straddling his waist. She reached a hand down, forcing his eye open despite him being knocked out. Let's see how much love and respect you have without your precious eyes. She snarled, holding the bottle up, and dropping 3 drops into each eye. The second the liquid hit Sasuke's eyes, he let loose a bowl of agony, awakening from his unconscious because of the utter ferocity the pain he felt was. However, with the liquid in his eyes, he could not see who was above him, and his vision was fading. As soon as the drops had left the bottle, Sakura took off running as fast as she could, throwing the bottle with her full strength as she ran, making the small bottle fall onto a mountain hundreds of miles away. She was near the house and turned around, so she was running back towards the pain-filled Uchiha, still able to hear Sasuke screaming as Kakashi arrived with Zabuza. Naruto and Haku joined half a second later, the 5 running to where Sasuke had been screaming. "Sasuke, what's wrong?" asked Kakashi, crouching down while said male covered his face. "My eyes. They feel like they're on fire." Sasuke howled in pain, kicking and thrashing on the spot, showing his pure agony. Haku frowned and started using water jutsu to clean his eyes. When she moved her hand away, his eyes looked foggy and glossed over. They looked like clear balls of crystal almost, some burnt red flesh around the edges hidden by his eyelids. I can't see," Sasuke whispered, waving a hand in front of his face. "I can't see. I can't see." He was having a panic attack, the horror of what happened to him hitting. "What happened to him?" Naruto asked. "Someone attacked me, you idiot," Sasuke yelled, although he was looking in the wrong direction. "I mean, what did they attack you with?" "I'm sure Kakashi can work out what happened to you." Naruto frowned, but he knew Sasuke was not thinking straight. "I don't know. All I saw was a rock, and then everything went black," Sasuke yelled, shaking in rage. "It looks like someone poured some sort of acid into Sasuke's eyes." I say acid, but it was more a chemical that degraded Sasuke's retinas until there was next to nothing left. If we left him for a minute, it may have caused worse damage as it got into his system, but that is just a small comfort in knowing we got here in time. Kakashi sighed as he picked up. "I'm going back to Konoha as fast as I can. Hopefully they can fix him." "Sakura, Naruto, you stay here and be careful. I'll be back as soon as I can," he informed. "You got it," spoke Naruto with a nod. "Be safe, sensei," Sakura said in worry. As he went off, Sakura cheered in her head for a job well done. She had removed Naruto's biggest obstacle. Now to ensure that floozy is dealt with before we head to the village, she thought, glaring at Haku. "Let's pack up and go to Konoha." Naruto nodded, smiling at Haku. "No," Sakura screamed mentally, hugging, "we can't bring this ice-hearted floozy. She will try to take you away, Naruto." "Should we, Zabuza-sama?" Haku asked her father figure, but it was clear she wanted to go. To have a home, maybe have a chance to be with Naruto. "I don't know. How do we know we can trust your Hokage?" he asked Naruto with a frown. "We're both missing Nin. The last thing I want is to wake up tied up and find out we were sold. 1. The old man is like my grandfather. If I say you can be trusted, he will honestly consider it. 2. I have a lot of power in the village that most people don't know. 3. Haku was never registered as a shinobi, so she is not technically a missing Nin, and they cannot deny her entry or take advantage of her. 4. Again for Haku, but she is a bloodline, so they won't turn her away. And as you are her guardian, in a way, the old man won't want to separate you. And finally, if you want even further reassurance, I can give you diplomatic immunity." Naruto listed off. "Zabuza-sama, perhaps we should take it," Haku suggested, clearly looking slightly hopeful. He looked between her and Naruto, who gave a small smile and crossed his arms with a sigh. "Fine, but I won't put my guard down for anything, got it?" "Sure," Naruto nodded. "No, don't come with us. Take your bitch of a daughter and get away from us," thought Sakura, trying to keep her hands from twitching near her kunai pouch. However, she knew she could not take Zabuza. She believed that she could beat Haku, but now was not the time to test it. She had to be patient. Like with Sasuke. Like with her mother. Well, we should pack. Naruto clapped, quickly taking off to the cottage house they had been staying in since this mission had began. I'll help, called Sakura running after him. Something seems off about her, remarked Zabuza. I'd keep my eyes on her, Haku. Of course, Zabuza-sama. Haku nodded seriously. I suspect that she was the one to do that to the duck-haired boy. Until we know for sure, let's just go along and don't draw too much attention, or she might try to stab us in the back. Zabuza ordered, knowing all of the signs that Haku pointed out and noticed. Yes, sir. She nodded. Time skip. Thank you for all your help. Tazuna thanked the ninja, Zabuza and Haku waiting in the background. We did our best. Naruto nodded, noticing the child crying. Inari, what's wrong? I don't want you to go big, bro, the young hat-wearing boy cried. I'll come visit Inari. Naruto smiled, hugging the kid lightly. Promise? The kid asked. Promise. Naruto nodded. You live? Sakura thought, the two leaving with Zabuza and Haku. As soon as they left the village, they took off at shinobi speed while the village waved. What should we call the bridge, father? Tsunami asked gently. How about the Great Tazuna Bridge? The elder bridge builder grinned and laughed. The village booed. How about we call it the Great Naruto Bridge? Inari asked, the crowd thinking for several moments and nodding. Perfect. Tazuna grinned, named after our hero. The Great Naruto Bridge. Haha. Time skip. Well, it's been a blast. Naruto smiled as the group were making their way to the gate. One way of saying it. Zabuza scoffed. When they reached the gate, two shinobi showed up. Halt. State your business. One guard ordered. Hey guys. Naruto waved. We're the Team 7 genin and guests, retraining from our mission. Our sensei and third team member already arrived because of an injury the later received. Can you show us some ID first? We need to be completely sure. One guard asked with a frown. Sure. Sakura nodded, showing her ninja registration. Naruto showed his while they looked them over before handing them back. Do your guests have any ID as well? The other asked. No. Naruto laughed nervously. I can verify them. Kakashi said as he appeared out of nowhere. They're interested in joining the village, and I was just going to introduce them to the Hokage. He passed the two a note from the homage himself, verifying them. All right, go on ahead. The second guard sighed. Thank you, sirs. Haku smiled. They walked into the village while Zabuza and Haku noted how warmer the air was and how much more sunny it was. This place is rather nice. Haku thought with a smile. Big brother Naruto. Save me. A voice yelled, a fox running over and jumping into Naruto's arms who blinked in confusion for a second. What's wrong? Naruto gasped while looking down at the fox, which was one of the foxes he left to look after Hinata, Ino and Ayam, who was shaking in fear. Save me. Save me from her. The orange fox cried. Come here, Smoke. Naruto, you're back. Ino smiled as she ran around the corner holding a dog's-eyed pink dress, which made the group blink. No, it's her. The fix screamed, hiding inside Naruto's jacket. Keep it away. Save me. Save Imi. Hey, Ino. Naruto greeted as she ran over while Smoke shook more. Dude, relax. It's just a dress. She has treated me like a doll since you left. The fox screamed. I'm so glad you're back. Ino smiled happily, hugging him. The feeling's mutual. He smiled with a light blush while Sakura heard a crack in the back of her head with her hair shadowing her eyes. Remember to come to my house later. Ino laughed. You said you'd buy a whole bouquet. And I stick to my word. All right. I want you to meet our guests. He pointed to Zabuza and Haku. They're going to be joining the village. Nice to meet you. Ino smiled as she continued to hug Naruto, her arms around his neck while he had an arm around her waist. Nice to meet you as well, nodded Haku, although a little annoyed while Zabuza just gave a grunt in reply. I take it you two are very close? Well, we're friends. Naruto chuckled. I wouldn't mind being closer though. Ino added casually, a throwaway comment most didn't notice. Just keep that thing away from me, spoke up Smoke inside the jacket. You would have looked cute in that dress. Ino pouted. I see. Haku nodded, her eyes slightly cold. Hey Brat, are we gonna go, or do you and your girlfriend need a moment? Asked Zabuza, getting annoyed. Gee, girlfriend. Naruto gasped and blushed. Kakashi chuckled. Come along, Naruto. Kakashi I smiled, dragging Naruto away. Later, Naruto. Ino waved. Oh wait, can you leave Smoke behind? I have a bow that matches the dress. No. Smoke screamed in fear. Bitch. Sakura thought, once I get my chance, you are dead. Why do I feel very annoyed with her? Thought Haku. The group soon arrived at the tower, walking in calmly. After showing the secretary their IDs, they headed to the main top floor and entered the Hokage's office. Hey old man. Naruto greeted. Hello Naruto. Greeted Sarutobi. The mission was a success. Kakashi nodded. And I take it this is Haku and Zabuza as you mentioned? The Hokage asked. Yep. Naruto nodded with a smile. We talked them into joining the village. While I admit, taking in one of the swordsmen of the mist, who's also a missing Nin, will be tricky to get through on paperwork. He admitted. The last thing we want is Kiri holding some grudge against us if they think we're getting into their business. They're in a civil war right now. Zabuza snarled, I was saving money to try and support the rebellion. The chances of them worrying about us won't happen for a long time, and by then it would be too late, remarked Haku. Besides, Haku was never a shinobi, so they can only complain about Zabuza. Naruto added with a grin, loophole right there. It seems so. The elderly ninja smiled. I'd say after testing you two out to determine your ranks, you'd make excellent shinobi for Konoha. How's Sasuke? Naruto asked. Sure, he did not like the guy, but what happened to him was terrible. He will never see again. Sarutobi sighed. He has been removed from the shinobi corps for this reason, as well as so he can focus on adjusting to his new disability. That's horrible, gasped Sakura while inwardly laughing to herself. Isn't there anything that can be done? Unfortunately, no. You just have to be there to support him. Sarutobi explained. Luckily, he is still young and will be the head of the Uchiha clan, so he will have all the money to be able to assist him and live a long and happy life. Which is not something every ninja can say. Kakashi, please take Zabuza away from his evaluation and drop Haku off at the academy for hers. Yes, Hokage-sama. Kakashi bowed, the three leaving. Sakura, I have some sad news to tell you. The aging Hokage sighed. If you wish for Naruto to stay as emotional support, then that is fine, but I will not pass on this information until you have decided. He can stay, she said quickly, grabbing Naruto's hand. Very well. Sarutobi nodded. Sakura Haruno. I am sorry to tell you this, but 4 days ago your mother was found alone in your home dead. Naruto's eyes widened while Sakura made a realistic gasp, while slowly forcing her tears out. WW what? Sakura whispered in horror, her tone perfectly hiding her real thoughts and opinions. Someone broke into your mother's house in fear of night and killed her with a kitchen knife. We have reason to believe she may have pushed a neighbor too far, or someone targeted her out of hate. I am so sorry, the elder Hokage said sadly. No, no, she screamed out while dropping to her knees and covered her face to keep up the appearance and to keep herself from grinning. It'll be okay, Sakura, Naruto whispered as he knelt next to her. Hugging her will catch who did this, and they'll get what they deserve. I promise, he soothed. She sniffled and cried on Naruto's chest while he patted her back, and she squealed in her mind. All according to plan, she thought heavily, Naruto's chest hiding her mad grin. Naruto sat next to Sakura, rubbing her back as they sat in a bench in the village. Feeling better? He asked. She sniffled while holding on to him and slowly nodded a little. Of course she was faking, but she would never tell him that, no matter what anyone did. Getting this chance to be so close to him, she was taking it like she wished he would take her. I hope she's going to be all right. I don't know what I'd do if I lost you or any of the others, he thought, talking to Kurama. And she needs some time alone now, Kit. Just keep an eye on her. Kurama sighed. You don't want to come off as a clingy weirdo or give her the wrong idea that you are into her. So just leave her be? Isn't that a bit harsh? No. Ask her if she's all right, and if she is, say you'll see her later, but to come see you if she need to talk. The fox rolled his eyes seriously. You are sometimes crap with kitsunes. He rolled his eyes. You gonna be all right, Sakura? I think so. She nodded, hugging herself and relaxing against his side while taking in his scent secretly. He smells so good. Well, I'm glad to hear, but I gotta go do something. You can talk to me later if you need to talk, though, he assured with a smile, standing up. She pouted and wanted to say something, But she didn't want to seem too clingy or come off as much, but she wanted him to be tied up in her home, never leaving her side. Can't you stay a little bit longer? She asked with a puppy dog pout. Naruto mumbled, looking at his watch. I guess I can. She smiled and hugged him while Kurama shook his head. This will only end in bad, the fox said, going to sleep. Again. If I had the right ingredients, I could give Naruto-kun a sleeping drug and show him how good my body is to bear his children. Sakura thought creepily, holding him tightly. Kid, why'd you have to fall for that? Kurama mumbled, falling asleep.